Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Boxing Coalition. My name is Cam. Joining me tonight, my partners in crime, Chemo and Daniel Lim. Hope you guys are well. Boys, crazy 2 weeks. Really fun trip.
I think crazy is an understatement.
Yeah, it is, but I really had a great time. Again, I need to thank Dan like I did last year. He just really catered to all our needs. He organised most of the accommodation. He got us whatever food we wanted. He took us where we been wanting to go. So big thank you to Dan.
You're not going to thank me.
I'm not going to thank you, Kimo. You basically just annoyed me for 2 weeks, so no thank you to you.
No, it was, I think he annoyed you for like probably 10 days, the 13 days you guys spent together, so there's still 3 good days.
What's crazy is, like, quality. You, Dan, on your own, perfect company. Chemo on his own, perfect company. You two combined are like child-minding 2 5-year-olds on crack cocaine.
And hanging out with you is like hanging out with like an 85-year-old man, so...
but at least that man is organized. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave it at that. Let's stick to boxing for this show.
All right, Dan, do you want to start in Carson or do you want to start in Vegas?
I think we should go chronologically through our trip, you know what I mean?
All right. Well, in that case, I don't have much to recapitulate regarding that Saturday. It was a great atmosphere. No, I don't know why I'm being so negative. It was probably the better fight experience than the following Saturday, just in terms of the entire card, obviously from bottom to top. I know you guys mentioned in the chat that the Estrada fight was a lot different upon second viewing at home, and I haven't had the opportunity to do that, but when I was there, it seemed like Estrada wasn't as skilled as a lot of other people had mentioned. And even from my judgment, coming off of the main Estrada fight that I saw was the first Chocolatito fight. So I had really high expectations. I thought he would have a much easier time with Cuadras because I don't really rate Cuadras that much just because I think he's a little bit overly wild and wide with his punches. But again, it's not really fair for me to judge until I see that second fight. So why don't you guys do most of the heavy lifting in terms of, assessing this fight and the pound for pound number 1 fighter, and what?
You want to go first, Cam?
Yeah, Kimo, we talked about it earlier on today because I have only saw the fight back on TV today, and it was just a fight that looked completely different in person to on TV. In person, it just seemed like Cuadras' work rate was probably the most beneficial thing in the whole fight. And I thought, in the flesh, Estrada was missing quite often. I didn't think a lot of his shots were on target, but viewing it back, I thought the counter left hook was excellent, the left uppercut, and the right hand. And just from our viewpoint, it didn't seem like those shots were clean. But yeah, on replay, wow, man, I think I only give Cuadras 3 rounds maybe. Watching it back in the arena, I wasn't scoring it round by round, but I personally felt that he just nicked the fight. It was a close fight, but I thought in the arena that Cuadras did enough early on, and Estrada did come back later on. Obviously, got that knockdown as well. But I thought Cuadras nicked the fight, and yeah, completely different in watching it back.
It's really funny because this seems to be kind of a trend of this trip, where stuff that we've seen live is kind of a different experience as to when you're watching it in HD on a TV screen. But yeah, I remember all 3 of us were pretty much, kind of shocked how wide Estrada looked. His trademark left hook just did not look good in the arena, and he seemed to be missing a lot. I wouldn't go as far as you're going, Cam, by kind of doing a complete 180 and saying, oh, he looked fantastic. I think he kind of struggled stylistically with the fight a little bit, but that's something, at least me personally, that predicted already. Like Cuadras is a guy that is awkward to begin with anyway, and when you have this kind of Marquez style that Estrada has, that's a style that doesn't mesh very well with somebody who moves a lot and is on the back foot. We saw it against Marquez when he fought Tim Bradley. It's tough, when you force a guy to come forward who's a natural kind of counter puncher, likes to sit down a little bit on his punches when he's countering. It just makes for a very difficult fight. But yeah, having watched it back on the TV, I did think he struggled quite a bit less than I thought in the arena. But still, I still thought it was a close fight. I haven't properly rescored it, but yeah, I don't think it was a domination by any chance. So, and it was funny as well, by the way, to look back and hear Buffer's fuck up, because I did not hear in the arena that he actually said Carlos Estrada. I don't know if you caught that, Cam, the second time you watched it, but I mean, that's not even like handing him a wrong card. He literally just fucked up the whole thing personally. I mean, that's what it sounds like. So that is quite the blunder. But yeah, Quadras, when they corrected it, he seemed to be taking it quite well. I mean, I would have been fucking pissed. But yeah, that's me personally.
I don't know. For me, it was quite wide, and I was even surprised looking back at the scorecards because I forgot how close they were. I think all three had him by just that 1 point, which was a knockdown point. So if that would have occurred, the knockdown, then it would have been a draw. But just on viewing it back, I thought it was an easy win for Estrada. But fun fight. I think they're looking at what Estrada versus Rungvisai next, which I think is a really good fight. So let's hope that happens. Oh shit! We need to talk about that crazy woman as well to our right in the arena, but we'll get to that, I guess, during the Chaco fight.
But by the way, Cam, I didn't enjoy the fight that much, to be honest. I was pretty fucking hyped up to be in the stub up.
Enjoy it in the arena or on the playback?
Both, kind of. I mean, again, something that was expected. Just stylistically, I love watching Estrada fight, but Quadras was not the right guy to put him in there, and it certainly didn't give a quote unquote stub up war, that everybody expects there. So it was a chess match, but it wasn't the type of fight that I was looking for. And the type of fight I was looking for, I got in the main event. I was looking for a fucking tear up where the crowd was going crazy with the Mexicans and the Nicaraguans, and that's the kind of fight you want in the stub up, especially because it was our first time being there. And let's run through the fight first, Cam, and then maybe we can just talk a little bit about being there in the arena itself, because I do definitely want to talk about that.
Yeah, so I'm kind of done on the Estrada Quadras fight, if you are.
Yeah, I mean, what I did like though is Estrada looked good despite him being quite inactive lately. One thing I forgot about Estrada is just how young he still is, man. I mean, dude's 26, right? I mean, he still has a long ways to go, and he fought Chocolatito when he was really, really young. So I see a very positive future for him. I just want him to stay active and just he got so many great top five fighters in this division now. There's a lot of great mixing and matching that can be done. So I really hope that continues as well, and I hope they get the airtime that they deserve, because overall the card was definitely quality.
Yeah, he's 27, but your point's still valid. He's still very young for the amount of fights he had, and the high competition. It's not like he's fought 5 bums and then one decent opposition, then 5 bums again. He's consistently fought high level guys. So
yeah, but also his I mean, sorry, yeah, you mentioned he's 27, but if you look at the way he was fighting when he was 24, 23, he's got such poise and maturity as a fighter. Sometimes that's a little bit his downfall, because he can get a little bit passive in there and expect the decision to go his way. Again, I'd like to compare him to Marquez, because Marquez has a similar mindset sometimes. He thinks that just by counterpunching here and there without a really high output, that he's automatically going to get the decision and then bitch and complain afterwards when it doesn't come your way. And that's kind of the feeling I had in the arena as well, watching him. I'm like, dude, you got to do a little bit more, just to put your stamp on it, because a guy like Quadras can easily nick the round. He throws a couple of flashy combinations.
Yeah.
It's just something that's very visible to the judges. So that's why originally, I think we weren't surprised that the decision actually went Quadras' way. But I mean, I don't think that's ever really going to change. He just needs a guy that comes forward, and that's when he truly shines, right? That's when he starts fucking counterpunching and letting those combinations go with finishing up to the body, finishing up with left hooks to the top. It really is a beauty to watch. But yeah, shall we move on to Inoue?
Yeah, just quickly, I assume you watched the Estrada Quadras fight with the HBO commentary, right?
No, actually, I did not. I watched it with Sky Sports commentary.
Oh, I was going to say, cause you're going to need to watch it back because you would have missed a lot of Adam Smith classy, but obviously you've seen it now, so you don't need to watch it back.
Yeah. I mean, that actually started, scanning the internet for it, and I found a very good HD version of it from Sky Sports, and it wasn't too bad to have the classy work in there as well. So
yeah. Spencer Oliver and Darren Barker was shit though, but yeah. Let's move on to the monster.
Terrible.
Fucking terrible.
I like Darren Barker, but he was fucking terrible.
Fucking terrible.
Alright, let's talk about the monster. We again kind of sat next to each other and both kind of thought the same thing while we were watching the Inoue fight.
I mean, he's a fucking monster. It's given how small these guys are, he's the first guy of the night where I'm like, whoa, I can literally, and we had good seats, but we're not like really close to the ring or whatever, but you could feel the impact of the punches.
Yeah, you could,
like
that hear that
to
thud.
me was like quite a revelation.
Yeah,
go on.
You're right. He was the guy on the night only that while we were in the arena, we did miss a few undercard fights, but you could hear the thud in his punches when he was landing.
Yeah, even if he was hitting gloves, there was a certain thud about it, and just accuracy and power that I don't know. It's very strange because you have such a tiny guy in the ring, punching with so many people around you making a shitload of noise, and you just. I don't know whether it's kind of like the vibration that you feel or hear or whatever, but you just feel it. You can just sense like, wow, this guy puts a lot of fucking torque in his punches. And from the moment it started, I forgot the guy's name.
Nieves.
Opponent. Yeah. Nieves?
Nieves,
sorry.
Nieves.
Yeah, he was just on the back foot and he felt the power immediately. Like it was evident from the start. It was like, oh, what the fuck is going on? And he was pretty much in survival mode. I really liked Inoue. I think he's a really terrific, little boxer puncher that likes to come forward as well and can put some pressure on somebody.
Yeah.
I remember us talking about that he's a little bit basic. He throws kind of the same combination over and over and over again, mixes it up with body shots here and there. But overall, he's a very traditional fighter. If I would show somebody like, what's the basic moves of boxing? Getting behind your jab, throwing a 1-2, letting the right hand go, and finishing up with a hook. That's what he does. He doesn't really show you anything crazy like, for example, a Quadras would, but he does it so incredibly well. And the fact that he's kind of rangy, I think he's going to be a very, very difficult guy to beat. I don't know what his chin is like. Obviously, I haven't really, seen him get hit with a massive punch, for example, that an Estrada would hit at him that he doesn't see coming. But he looks good to me, Cam. What did you think?
Yeah, kind of echo most of what you said. He's very, very good at doing the basics, but he just lacks a bit of, I don't know, mixing it up a bit. Like you don't really see variations. Everything's the same kind of combination. I was slightly disappointed with his ability to cut the ring off. Nieves was always kind of circling in the same direction, and Inoue was following him a bit. And also, when a guy from the early on, Nieves knew he was out of his depth, and he would try and throw back at times, but he was mainly kind of high guard and just trying to take the punches. And it's something I said about Bivol a few months ago, where if the guy's got his high guard there, you need to step across and try and find the angle, or you need to shoot more than 3 punches. Like majority of the time, like Inoue is kind of like 3-punch maximum. And if you want to split the guard and start, landing clean shots on the guy, you're gonna have to throw like 5, 6 maybe. The first 2, 3 split the guard, and the rest kind of catch the guy clean. So that's my minor kind of annoyance. But overall, I think for a US debut, and he kind of got presented to the US fans, and he was well. He seemed very well liked in the arena as well. A lot of the crowd were giving him props as well. So pretty good debut in the States.
I think he's probably the best Japanese fighter that I've seen. I just see a lot of natural ability and a lot of natural athleticism, and I like his jab as well. Like he throws it with authority. One thing I kind of didn't like in some of his previous fights when I watched it is that he stands quite upright, and then sometimes I feel like somebody who gets on the inside and starts throwing hooks over the top is going to catch him. I haven't really seen that happen yet, because he tends to push people back with the jab, so they don't really have the opportunity to do that. But I don't know. I thought he looked a little bit better in terms of the stance. It was
not as
again
wide.
The guy was on the back foot most of the fight, but it seems very difficult to get past that jab and those rangy punches. I don't really know, how somebody's gonna counteract that, because it is like almost like with Golovkin, like you have, it's not just a jab that you think, oh, I can just kind of slip it and move my way in. It's a thudding fucking punch, right? So once you get hit with it, it's very hard to kind of keep the forward momentum going, because you just get pushed back all the time by the power, and it's a hurtful punch. So I really like that about him, Ken. I wasn't really too bothered with the fact that he wasn't throwing a 5-punch combination. There's a certain, like, very, I wouldn't say robotic, but it's very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Systematic?
It's a very systematic approach, like it's almost like he sticks to the same thing. He keeps doing it over and over, and it's very hard to kind of change the momentum of the fight if you're his opponent, and you just keep getting pounded with these power punches. I don't know, man. I really, really want to see this guy face the elites, because I'm very, very curious how they're going to deal with the skill set that he has.
I think him versus Rungvisai would be good, because that guy's got a hell of a chin, and if you can maybe take those shots and get on the inside and just work in a way, I think that's a fucking great fight.
Nah, dude, I don't want to see Asian on Asian crime, man. There's not enough Asians out there. You should definitely fight a Mexican.
Lim, you got any
you gotta
thoughts?
Give props to You got to give props to Nieves, man. He wouldn't bend that knee. So, props to Nieves, man. He's on that Jon Snow tip.
Well, John did eventually kind of bend, so.
But he
did
it
it in a
tapped it
different
as
way.
well, though.
Exactly. He pointed it with the stick, man.
So it's okay to bend the knee if you tap that ass off later on.
Yeah.
No, I just thought Inoue was like pound for pound, dude. Like he's definitely number one pound for pound for me now. So that's all I got to say about that.
Now that Chemo's boy's retired.
No, he was always pound for pound for me, but this just cemented it, like 100%.
Well, his resume is pretty sick.
Oh, for sure, bro. And he's 24, so I think he can fight another 24 years and be like 100 and or something. So,
I mean, he beat Kono, who's a murderous puncher, and he beat Narvaez, who is like, pound for pound of the lighter weight. So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's definitely the best Japanese fighter I've ever seen in my life in the past 3 months. So that definitely has to count for something,
All right.
Never just a Japanese fighter.
If you got nothing else to add, Lim, we'll talk about.
I don't.
Sorry, Chemo, we have to talk about it. And I actually haven't gone back and watched it. Obviously, it kind of hurts too much. I guess you haven't either.
No, I have. I watched it. I watched it on the plane ride back, and I just watched it today as well for another time. I've kind of become okay with it, to be honest. In the arena, I was absolutely fucking shocked. Like I just didn't. It's something I just didn't see coming. Honestly,
neither did he.
Like well, fair enough. I'm sure he didn't see that coming either. But it's given the way the first fight went, like apart from that weird ass, like body shot knockdown of, I think, in the second round or the first round, it never really seemed like Chocolatito was in trouble. He always seemed to just, be in his comfort zone, where once he got going a little bit, he starts rolling with the shots. He starts coming forward. Yes, he couldn't really put a dent in Srisaket, but he was doing his thing, man, like he always does. Did we see some slippage? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I never really related it to slippage. I always related it to you're just finding a guy that's too fucking big. And I know guys at lower weights, they kind of age quicker than at the heavier weights. But correct me if I'm wrong, he's 30 years old right now. I didn't expect this to happen quite yet. And, I think me personally, Cam, like I was just all up in the atmosphere, right? I mean, I was so excited. But people that are actually watching it on TV, and I know even the Sky team were commenting on it. I don't know how much we should read into it, but they did say that Chocolatito looked a little bit strange coming into the ring. Like he looked a little bit emotional. He looked a little bit fleshy at the weigh-in as well, which I think he's always done at this weight.
Yeah.
But there was kind of a feeling like, like what's really going on there. And as soon as the fight started, it was a lot different than the first fight, like a lot. I thought Srisaket kind of just took ownership of the fight. I think he realized, like, I'm the bigger fucking guy. I'm not gonna just go on the back foot or let myself get pushed back by a smaller guy. I'm gonna punch back. And most of all, I think the main difference of what he did before is that he actually punched with Chocolatito as well. Like a lot of times he would just fire back, man. And you can tell that the effect that his punches, the effect of his punches was much greater than Gonzalez. And yeah, man, he just put more authority on his punches, especially that left hand. The way he was just throwing it was just vicious. And that, I think it was a right hook that he caught him with the first time. That shot was a fucking peach, man. Like Gonzalez didn't see it, and he just fucking hit him perfectly on the chin. I mean, it just snapped his head to the side, and yeah, it was all downhill from there.
It was crazy how both shots were almost identical. Because I remember in the arena when they were showing the replays, I was like, wait, he got up by this time, and this time he's laid out. But basically, it was a mirror image of both knockdowns.
Yeah, and both times it was from an angle that he didn't see it coming, right? You could see he just doesn't see the shot. It comes from the side, basically to his blind side, and just fucking ices him. And yeah, he throws it really crisp. By the way, I mean, he's kind of a crude guy, but the way he kind of throws that right hook is very, very, very crisp, man. And the problem with Chocolatito as well, once he was hurt, he started just standing in the pocket and trading, man. I mean, that's a bad idea against a guy like that. He doesn't really know how to survive. He doesn't really know how to take a step back. And, I don't know what level his punch resistance was once he got hurt. But I think if he would have, had a different reaction to it, he might have been able to survive that. But he didn't. He stood there and just tried to hurt the guy. Like he literally started throwing haymakers. And that's when he opened up again, and then boom, that's the moment where he got slept, and the whole atmosphere in the arena was weird, right?
Yeah, it kind of went dead silent.
Huh?
It kind of went dead silent.
Yeah, it was just shock, man. Like I was standing there holding my head, and I was just like, what the fuck just happened? Like I just couldn't believe it, especially. We don't see a knockout of this caliber, at these weights often, and it was clean. It was just like he was out. And he was out for quite a while. He just kept on lying there, and I was like, fucking hell, man, this guy's really, really badly hurt. It was a very strange scene, man, because before that, it was party mode, there were so many Nicaraguan people in the building going crazy. And up to that point, the fight was very good, but it was an absolute shocker of an ending. And Yeah, it's kind of weird to travel all that way and see your hero get fucking iced, but it's the cold, harsh reality of boxing. And unfortunately for Gonzalez, this is I think this is going to be a bit of a career killer, at least for him at the top level, because it was a very damaging blow, and he just doesn't look the same anymore. I don't think he's willing to sacrifice to go down in weight, and staying at that weight is just not healthy for him. So I hope he'll probably have a couple of more fights, but I truly hope that he doesn't keep on fighting for too long and starts taking a shitload of punishment, because nobody really wants to see that.
Yeah, if he continues, I think he should try and squeeze down and go back down just to fly, because he's just too small. Every fight he's had at Superfly, in my opinion, he's always looked fleshy. His body type has looked a bit heavy. His feet look a bit heavier. He doesn't move as smoothly as he used to. So I don't know if that's just age or is the weight, but if he's made good money, then just retire, man. Like, my only kind of problem with afterwards is a lot of people saying, "Oh well, he wasn't that good in the first place," and I guess he wasn't pound for pound. Like people that have never really seen him before, they just jumped onto that negative bandwagon, and it's unfair because you didn't see him when he was in his prime, when he was fighting at a weight where he was at similar height and similar kind of just body type to his opponents. Where at Rungvisai, I don't know how he makes Superfly, because he's fucking massive, man. So yeah, just those kind of haters that came out of the woodwork, I thought it was a bit of a shame. They don't really give Choco enough dues, but that's how it is, man. People always want to hit you in the
I mean, honestly, that's just I don't want to use the word hate because it's so cliche, but these are just people that are fucking ignorant. They haven't watched him throughout his career. They don't even know about his achievements. I mean, I think I saw a tweet from what's his name? Was it Lou DiBella, who said like, oh, once he moved up in weight, he got fucking he got fucking KO'd. I mean, you're a fucking retard, dude. Seriously, like, check your fucking facts and shut the fuck up. Seriously, he's fucking scumbag, man. Seriously, it's just ridiculous. But again, there's people that don't watch the lighter weights. There's people that don't appreciate the fighters, and they just want to shit all over it just because one time, they tune into HBO to see it. So, I'm to be honest, Cam, I just ignored it. I don't even care about it. I'm not even going to try to convince those people, because if you're that fucking stupid to make a statement like that, you're a lost cause anyway. So, it's your loss. Like, if you don't watch these guys, you're missing out on great boxing. I don't care about the size of it. I mean, I've seen some fantastic fucking fights over the years. So whatever, man. We will enjoy it, and let the ignorant people do whatever the fuck they want. They can watch an Andre Ward fight. Don't give a shit.
Well said,
bro. If you have a problem with Lou, then add him, bro.
Dude,
Lim,
fuck Lou DiBella.
Lim, you got any thoughts on the Rungvisai Choco fight?
No, man. It was. I don't have too many thoughts. I just want to comment on that lady who kept screaming "Sissy." That was the highlight of my night, and that little 10-year-old that was sitting next to Chemo, and just the look of disgust on his face. But I don't know too much about Chocolatito's history. I've watched, I think, his past 4 fights, just because I've been to a couple of them, and I don't really give a fuck about legacy talk, because that's a really, really subjective discussion to begin with. But I mean, even the previous, the first Sissy fight, that fight was probably my fight of the year, just for that sake. So I just think Chocolatito has a style that it really can't transfer up weight classes like a Floyd or a Manny can, just because he fights in a very, very aggressive style that's not really based on athleticism. So I just think at his age and his experience, there's no way he's going to move back down to 112. He's 30 years old. He just got knocked out. this is probably it for him at the top level. So, he's had a great career, obviously, and I hate watching fighters get knocked out like that, especially when their wives or their girlfriends are at that arena. It really, really breaks my heart, man. And I'm not trolling at all. Like, I hate watching that shit. I just think it's a curse that you two bums bring with every trip that you guys take to the United States. First with Khan getting knocked the fuck out, and now Chocolatito getting knocked the fuck out. I think you guys should be banned from the States from this day forward. I just don't think it's right for these fighters. I'm going to tell all the commissions that these two bums, Cameron and Chemo, need to be banned from the U.S. Trump list. I'm going to add that into writing and make that a proposal from here on out.
Great friend.
But at least with Khan, you knew it was happening, right? This was kind of
yeah, and it also did provide about 80% of the highlight videos for Canelo Triple G, so I got to give props to Cam for that, man. Thank you, Cam. It's incredible. Just watching him get sparked from 7 different angles on repeat was a fucking thrilling and enthralling experience for me. So,
Box Nation was savage, though, because they had Khan in the studio. I saw some clips on Twitter, and basically they were asking him questions. Camera was pointed at him, and in the background on the screen, you just see him in slow motion getting iced. So they were just savage, straight savage.
But we actually have Khan on the line, right? I mean, how do you receive that, Amir? Like, is that respect? Do you take that as respect, or do you what are your feelings towards situations like that?
I'm not gonna do it, Lim.
So you did it for 2 weeks straight,
bullshit,
and now you're not going to do it on the show.
I was going to say, you did it for fucking 2 weeks, and you won't do it on the show?
It's a spontaneous thing. You got to let me do it spontaneously, because when you force
it was spontaneous. I just built it right up on a fucking platter, and you decide to not do it now when I put you on the spot? What the fuck? No, Cam. I have nothing else too much to say. People like me and you guys, we have no right to judge how great a fighter was. I know this is so cheesy, but honestly, we haven't been in the ring with people of this caliber. And it's funny because I'm actually in Thailand right now, and I just saw this YouTube clip of Sishket, this M150 video, which is an energy drink here in Thailand. And,
did you try it?
No, I didn't try it, but I did watch a 4-minute video of Sishket, and his life story is fucking incredible, man. And this guy, his first two fights, first he got knocked out, and the second one he lost in TKO, and he's had 2 losses since then. One, interestingly enough, to Quadras. And this guy used to eat out of fucking trash cans and collect bottles and take home stuff that he found in the trash cans and feed himself and his girlfriend, who I think he just proposed to. And not to get too emotional, but it's just pretty amazing, the stories of these guys and what they've been able to accomplish. Especially, I think guys at this weight class, not only did they not get enough respect from us, but they don't get paid as much as people obviously Triple G and Golovkin, and yet the competition is more, I think, consistent than these guys. So I think that night in general just taught me a lot about how much these guys put on the line. So I'll definitely be watching more of that weight division and below moving forward.
There's a very infamous picture on Twitter that you see of Srishaket basically having a rat for dinner. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's fucking savage. He's just eating a grilled rat. It's fucking crazy. Yeah.
Look at this video. He said he had at one point in his life he had 20 baht left, which is 66 cents. I mean, that's all he had to him. And now he's a fucking champion. I mean, the guy at 115. So that's incredible, man. That's what the sport is all about.
Yeah, and he probably will get honored, or he has already. I'm not sure, but by the prince as well, by the royalty in Thailand. So he's fucking immortal now in that country, man. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Lim, should we just get into the StubHub in general? Obviously, Lim touched upon that crazy woman and that kid. That kid was awesome. After the fight Choco got stopped, she was kind of continuing to scream, and the kid was like, "Your guy won already, so will you shut up?"
One thing
even before that, he was like, "Man, she's so annoying. I want him to get knocked out now." The kid was just so hilarious. But yeah, she was fucking annoying. Jesus.
pleasantly surprised by though were how civil the crowd was though, regardless of that woman. Like there were, I don't know if they were Mexicans or Nicaraguans, but people were all pretty friendly and they weren't overly aggressive and antagonistic afterwards, which I thought was pretty, pleasantly surprising. I know boxing fans get a bad rep for being racist or yelling, bigoted statements and things like that, but
Yeah.
people just generally had a good time. They gave Suzuki all the props in the world, which I thought was pretty cool. The only annoying part I think was a bunch of dudes coming up to him like, "Hey, congratulations!" And I was like, "Why? I'm not Thai, you fucking idiot." But that's a different subject for another day. But I thought overall that lady was the only negative part of the atmosphere. But other than that, everything else was pretty much spot on.
Yeah, and Kimo, you filmed a dude that was basically dancing from start to finish throughout most of the fights. In between rounds, he had his Nicaraguan flag, and he was just having a good time. And and seeing a guy like that makes you smile and makes you feel good as well.
Yeah, he was a fucking baller, man. I think the guy was like 45 years old, just living it up. But the overall atmosphere was really, really cool, man. And that arena is really, really nice. Like, it doesn't matter where you are, the angle to the ring is really, really fantastic. And yeah, I don't know, it's just the overall vibe there. It's just really chill. It's a good crowd. I like it, and definitely the majority was Mexican, but I think there was like, I don't know, maybe 15 to 20% was definitely from Nicaragua. Man, you saw the flags everywhere. It kind of stands out, obviously. But especially guys like Estrada really got a big reception there from the Mexicans. So I really enjoyed it, man. I've always wanted to experience a fight on the West Coast, with the Mexicans, and they definitely provided a good event, man. Really, really, really enjoyed it, and got to meet some cool people as well. Shout out to our man Jay Butters, who came all the way from
Butters. He's a bad man.
Yeah, Butters is a bad man. He came all the way from Washington just for this fight as well. Shout out to Rob Palmer from Los Angeles.
Yeah, hopefully he performed well at the soccer match the day after.
Yeah, I hope so, man.
Yeah.
You have to drive all the way up to San Jose, right?
Nah, bro, San Diego, you moron.
San Diego.
Fucking hey, bro.
Yeah.
2 weeks in California and you still don't know your geography around the state, bro. Come on.
Bro, remember when I ordered the meat tacos? Is this chicken?
Oh yeah, this idiot Cam, you weren't there, but this guy went up to this lady and he was like, "Can I have the carnitas burrito? And for the meat, can I have chicken?" And she was like, "What the fuck? Carnitas is the meat, you fucking idiot." I was just shaking my head. But
I was just so excited that we were in this fucking weird ass diner on the side of the highway. It was really great.
It wasn't weird, bro. It's America.
No, it wasn't weird. I loved it. This is exactly the experience that I wanted.
It's very quaint. No, but just continuing in terms of the people we met. Shout out to Vic Salazar. I have yet to see him not in an inebriated state, but I hope we have a serious discussion with him at some point in my life. In addition to that, the Chemo's favorite, Venice babe, Cali mentality. Whoa, represent. Who else is there? I don't know, Kim. Who else did we meet?
There was one fat dude that came up to us, and we were just like, "Dude, I don't know you. Like, get away from me."
I don't remember that.
Medium jacket.
Was I there?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. But Ski Master, obviously, his friend whose name was Billy, I think, we bumped into Mark TMT. Chemo had a moment with Steve Kim. He was just like, Kim was talking to Vic, and Chemo was there, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this guy's come from Abu Dhabi." He's like, "Oh right, yeah, my name's Chemo," and he's like, "Oh, Chemo."
Yeah, that's a good impression. It's only good enough for me.
It's not bad. It's not bad. But yeah, who else?
Quickly.
You're breaking up a bit, bro. Your line's a bit choppy. But yeah, Kimo mentioned him. Jay Butters, he was really cool. Vic, I've never met Vic before. Spoke to him, on social media for years, so it's really nice to meet Vic.
To our listeners.
Sorry, Dan. Dan, your line's getting a bit choppy. Just hang up and call back, Dan.
Yeah, man. Call back. Come back.
Come back stronger. But that's about it, Kimo. I can't really think of anything else we met.
Trying to think if I'm leaving anybody out, but I think that was about it. Yeah, shout out to Ski Mask, though. It was nice to finally meet him. I know you and I both are still both convinced that Naota was in the fucking crowd hiding from us somewhere.
Yeah.
With his little Jufro, but no, we unfortunately did not meet him. And yeah, man, just overall it was fucking chill. So that was the kind of the beginning of our trip, and then a lot of great things followed, obviously, which we'll talk about. But yeah, I don't have anything else to add. I think, Cam, about the StubHub, man, just overall great atmosphere, great venue. It's one off the bucket list, so we fucking did it.
Yep, and talking about bucket lists, we continued our journey north. We went up to, eventually ended up in San Francisco. Our boy Abe took us to the first game of the season for the 49ers. Big props to Abe. Again, like Lim, he just really looked after us. He took me out for food, and I met Abe last year when I went to the Canelo fight, but we were only kind of there like a day and a half, so I don't really get to know him, but spoke to him a lot more on this trip and really got to know him a lot better and more of his life story and his background, and he's just a really cool dude, man. Really big family man.
You sound like Charlie Rose right now, dude.
I'm having a moment, bro. Can you not just let me speak?
Yeah, okay, go for it, boss.
He's a big family man. He's like his family, everything to him, and he just really looked after us, man. So big props to Abe, and his partner Maria was wonderful as well. So shout out to them. But the Niners game was pretty sick. I've never been to a football game before, and Lim took us over the Golden Gate. That was a bucket list for me. I've always wanted to see the Golden Gate and drive over it. So again, thank you for that, Lim. That's about it from me, Kimo. I know you guys went on a crazy night out, but that maybe shouldn't get mentioned on air. I think we should leave that for, what happens.
That's haram, bro.
What happens in the Bay stays in the Bay kind of situation.
It was nice to be in the Bay finally, man. Just to breathe that fresh Bay area. It was.
Kimo, we definitely had a couple of this is come moments, didn't we?
What a lovely city, though, man. I mean, honestly, San Francisco. I really want to just come back there and just spend I think a week there or something, and really just immerse myself in the culture. I was super pumped to go to the hippie district there. Thank you for taking me there, Lim. That was awesome.
Yeah.
People are just totally tripping out over there. Still, it's awesome. And yeah, man. I hope to come back and maybe hit a Raiders game as well. Maybe while they're still there, before they move to Vegas. But
yeah, it's so funny that you and Cam and other people have such a distorted view of the Bay Area from boxing Twitter. But like I told you guys, San Francisco is probably the best city in the States, just in terms of just the diversity and just the fucking area is just so beautiful, man. There's really no place like it in the States. So it was really cool to take you guys there and show you guys what the true Bay is all about.
Yeah, it really is beautiful. But
the Mozzie, the automatic, that was a life-changing musical experience for us too. So definitely shout out to Abe for that experience as well.
Yeah, I mean, Cam's talking about taking care of us, but I mean, I think the biggest gift that Abe gave us was to, introduce us to Mozzie. I mean, this is like linguistic genius. I mean, it really is.
Abe's entrance as well when he came to pick us up to take us to the game. We heard him coming from a mile away. His truck's got this ridiculous speaker system.
Yeah.
And his Ford Excursion's jacked up with custom suspension, big wheels, big tires. Man, that thing is sick. I'll ask if I can post a picture on Twitter. I'll put it on first, but I'll ask his permission first. But yeah, that truck is sick.
Cam, I remember, I think on the way back from the game, when he was blasting Mozzie, I saw this Russian family, and the mom was just so horrified just watching that music being played. I swear to God. And the reason why I remember that so vividly is because when I went to the pool afterwards, it was the same Russian family, and her face was just like of pure, just like angst and horror. Like what is this monstrosity of a truck doing in a really quiet residential neighborhood? So
they just don't know that just don't know that he's running from them hoes. They just don't know.
Playing with my nose. Yeah. All right. No,
anyway,
it was a fun time. Thanks to Abe for obviously taking us to probably the worst football game of all time. Can't put it very mildly in saying that it was a great game, because that honestly was one of the worst games of all time. But just going to the actual stadium, though, I think more than made up for it. So hopefully you guys at least enjoyed it from that perspective.
Yeah, the whole spectacle is really good, man.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a pretty poor game to say the least. But
you know what the messed up thing is? Like the 49ers, like this week or last week, I should say, had one of the most amazing fucking games ever against the Rams. It's really too bad we didn't get to experience that, but it's all good, man. It was a great experience, and me and Abe will do it again, probably in Pittsburgh. Shit.
Steelers.
Yep.
Okay, then San Fran, we kind of drove in the crazy thunderstorm, which kind of lasted 2 days, because when we left San Fran, it just started pissing down, lightning, thunder. That continued until we kind of hit a pit stop at a hotel next to the highway. Next day, Dan took us to Yosemite, and honestly, man, some of that scenery was breathtaking. Amazing.
Why are you laughing?
I know he's laughing because he's thinking, well, half the time you didn't even get out of the car.
Exactly. I was like, we went out for a walk, and this dude just sits in the back seat, just not doing anything. But I don't know, man. Some people, I think what I learned is that's kind of how my dad is too. Like, he likes to view things from a distance. So as long as you guys enjoyed yourselves, that's really all that matters.
No, the rock climb was pretty sick that we did.
Oh, for sure, bro.
For show.
For show.
Do you still have the hat, by the way?
Which one? Oh, yeah, of course I do.
No, he's lost it, bro. Come on.
Nah, it's in the car somewhere. But yeah, man, fucking beautiful, dude. Absolutely amazing. I've seen a lot of fucking nice scenery in my life, but this definitely is up there. It really is. And if any of you bums live in that fucking area and you've never been, fucking go there, man. Jeez, what are you doing? Especially Ski Mask, man. He never seems to come out of LA, that fucking weirdo. Go.
He's too busy running through them hoes, man.
I know he's too busy running through them hoes, but still, you gotta make some time to experience the beautiful Mother Nature, man. It really is fantastic. And shout out to that roadside hotel that we went to. The first time Cam got to experience the Denny's. And
no, it wasn't.
Yeah,
I've been to Denny's before. I did explain that.
What? You did?
I've been to Denny's in Florida, bro.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but this one was a little bit more grimy, though. I think it was the real Denny's experience.
I think so.
But you forgot to mention the 4 hour of lightning and thunderstorms that we saw.
I don't know.
That was crazy. I've never seen anything like that for that long.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna die at some point, or something, but it really was. No, it really was quite beautiful, man. It was just pitch black in the middle of nowhere, just driving, trying to figure out what the fuck we're doing and how we're gonna get to Vegas, and then just constant thunder like all around us. It was very atmospheric. Maybe a bit of a sign to come of what would happen in Vegas later on, but. Yeah, man, epic, beautiful. And then we drove on, and we finally made it to Vegas.
Vegas, baby. All right, let's talk about. Sorry, Lim.
Many actions.
Many dramas. If you don't know why Dan is saying that, watch the second 24/7, and that'll make more sense. All right, let's just get to the fight first, then we can talk about our Vegas experience afterwards. Chemo, main event, Golovkin versus Canelo. again, as we mentioned before, we kind of saw the fight a bit. Well, I didn't. I kind of saw it the same, but you saw this fight a bit differently on second viewing compared to the first live experience.
Yeah, obviously, because I was just being a fucking, fanboy walking around in a Canelo bandana in fucking Vegas.
You look pretty cool, bro.
I know. Like Hamada was hating on it. He called me a fucking casual. I was like, "Fuck you, dude."
Yeah, bro. You look sick, bro.
Yeah,
like,
bro. I
felt definitely tapping some puss.
Yeah. I was definitely PC level pants and puss, but
sure, bro.
Yeah, it was, but it just felt great. Cam bought it for me. Thank you, Cam. And it's really been a dream of mine.
Why don't you give me one, Cam?
Because you wouldn't wear it.
You'd lose it after about 5 minutes.
You should have bought me one, dude.
You'd lose it. You
should have bought me one, dude.
I'll get you one next time.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, it really was like a fantasy of mine to just rock a Mexican bandana and feel like I'm part of the crowd. So again, another one off the bucket list.
Yeah,
but
I felt like one of those bums who drive all the way from California just to buy a bandana and not go to the fight. Must have been a great experience.
It was a really great experience. And what an arena the T-Mobile is, eh? Wow. It really is fucking nice. Like good seating, really well organized. Like there's no queue, you just walk in. It really is amazing. And just very clean, very very modern. It's not overly hot inside as well. It's just cool. It's very 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 nice. Maybe a bit too nice. Maybe a bit too polished even. It doesn't really have that raw feel to it. But yeah, the atmosphere in the arena was fucking fantastic, man. I think the Canelo entrance is one of the greatest moments of my life. Like when that Mexican music hit and people started singing along as well. And that moment when you're sitting there and the light goes dark and then all of a sudden you see his face on the monitor, like just kind of shadow boxing and walking in the catacombs of the arena. That fucking moment is so exhilarating and so energetic. Many actions.
Many clues. Many red clues.
I got a raging clue when that.
I got a raging clue.
Yeah. Just again for people not understanding these little jokes. For 2 weeks, okay. I had to hear basically constant South Park impressions.
Dude, you don't even need to preface it, man. People just like it. People like us. They like this type of humor, man.
Maybe they don't. That's the thing.
Nah. Well, those people
boxing camp, this is boxing.
Yeah, but it was a great entrance for sure. I'm such a casual, man. I haven't even rewatched this fight. You know what happens, guys? I try to rewatch the fight, and on the YouTube, there's always like a Canelo highlight video that just shows the best moments of Canelo against Triple G. I just end up watching that every time. So, I haven't watched the full fight yet, but my scorecard still stands. I still have a 9-3 for Canelo, and you can't change my mind on
that. I was so pumped, like after like the third and fourth round, where I realized like he's in there, man. He can fucking hang with Triple G. It's really quite amazing. And we all agreed like Triple G just didn't look good. He looked very flat. He missed a lot, and his punches seemed kind of slow motion always. No body work. The jab was still there, but not as sharp as I always thought it would be. It just
his right hand is so poor now, dude.
Oh, his right hand is fucking terrible.
How many times did Canelo dodge his right hand with that shitty ass head movement?
Yeah,
I mean not shitty ass, but let me reframe that. I need to rephrase it entirely. Not shitty in the sense of his actual like upper body movement was crap, but he did the same kind of dodging technique every single time, and Triple G didn't adjust to it. I think he adjusted to it a couple of times early, where he did try to throw an overhand right a little bit wide to his right so that he could catch Canelo while he was doing that. But even that was so telegraphed that Canelo in those instances just ducked. Like his punching is just so fucking telegraphic nowadays, man. And we'll discuss this a little bit in further detail later, but to me, this fight was one of those things where it wasn't Canelo necessarily over impressing me. What really impressed me about Canelo was his endurance and his endurance from a physical, cardio standpoint, but just his chin and his toughness and the way he filled out at the weight class. But it was more so just Triple G disappointing me, honestly. And I was the one, I think, on our pre-show who was much, much more reserved than you in terms of, how much of his recent performances is physical deterioration, because I didn't buy into that, because he didn't go through the wars that most other fighters do that contributes to their deterioration. But this fight just kind of cemented that for me. Canelo was just sitting on the ropes, just daring him to come. And that was when Canelo probably did some of his best work. And not just because of what he actually performed, but his ability to get rest. And I mentioned that on last week's show, that if he could do that, and a lot of people were dubious about that, and rightfully so, that he would have a chance in this fight. And he more than had success in those situations. I thought it was really, really piss poor from Golovkin not to be able to take advantage of that, man. Like, you've been heralded as the Terminator at that weight division at 160, and you can't capitalize on a guy moving up for his first fight at 160. Like, you can't punish him when he's in those situations. Like, I thought that was fucking terrible.
I totally agree, Lim. And this is one of the things that, everybody seemed to think, including myself, like, if Canelo would actually go on the ropes and try to pull that shit that he did against Angulo and a lot of other people, that he would get absolutely iced, because that is that used to be a death sentence against Triple G, right? You didn't even have to be tired or whatever. If you would go to the ropes, you would get fucking nailed. You would get your ribs broken, and he just couldn't pull the trigger. He literally had him there. And obviously, we got to give a lot of props to Canelo, because his defense is fucking marvelous. I'm sorry. To the people that don't give him credit after this fight, I really do not understand you. I think you're just being a fucking, bitter loser because you predicted a knockout or put money on a knockout. But Canelo's defense is really, really fucking good. I think a lot of it is just natural ability, or we have to give the Reynosos a lot of credit, the way they've trained him. But his upper body movement, the way he blocks, the way he parries, the way he rolls with shots, the way he just, bends at the waist, it really, really is fucking beautiful to watch. Yes, it is flawed in the sense that he doesn't always throw back enough to take charge of the round. I fully agree with that, and that was highlighted even more when I rewatched the fight. But regardless, man, he is a really, really skilled and, like you said, tough motherfucker. Like, I've doubted his punch resistance in the past, but he looked solid as hell. And yes, Triple G missed a lot, but he also hit him a few times flush. I remember that one moment where he caught him flush with a big right hand, and Canelo just took it, man. Yeah, he took a couple of steps backwards, but he was there. He had his faculties were there. He just took a little moment to catch his breath again, and he was fine. It really was a stellar performance from Canelo, I thought. I think I don't think anybody can deny that he exceeded expectations, right? And maybe that had to do a little bit with Triple G, just looking worse than everybody expected. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of said this on the prediction show, right? I think he's declined, and even I was surprised how much he's declined. Like, he just doesn't have it in him anymore. And I think the jab is kind of the only thing that's keeping him alive in the fight in terms of, scoring. Because if you're missing that many right hands, if you're not committing to the body, like I maybe saw 5 body shots in total in the whole fight that landed. I mean, that's a fucking drastically low output in terms of body shots. I really don't understand that. And correct me if I'm wrong, Cam, but I think Abel was even saying that in a corner, right? Have you heard that? I think I remember watching it back and him saying, you got to go to the body.
Yeah,
and he didn't.
Yeah.
So it's not something that's not instructed. I think it just happens to fighters when they age. They just get a stronger disconnect between what their mind is telling them to do and what the body executes, right? And that happens to everybody. So I think it's only going to go downhill from here for him, unfortunately. He still has a tremendous chin. He still, is very aggressive in terms of coming forward, not aggressive in terms of throwing punches. But yeah, one thing I do want to highlight though, again, Cam, is the difference between watching it live and watching it on TV. Yeah, okay, I was a total moron, obviously, in the arena, and I was not being biased. I was just like, oh my God, Canelo's going to go to fucking distance. He's going to win a decision. And I really thought he would actually get it. But then actually having watched it back on TV, yeah, his output was not enough quite a lot of rounds. And especially the middle rounds, Golovkin was pretty much sweeping them just by throwing punches. Canelo would, have a couple of flashy moments here and there, but you can't win a round, with 3 or 5, solid jabs or right hands and then just, take the rest of the round off. I'm sorry. I just can't give you the round for that. So in the end, my score was 115-113 Golovkin. Yeah, and I think enough has been said about the Adelaide Bird scorecard. It's disgraceful, and obviously that bitch should be fucking banned, in my opinion.
I can't really add anything more to what you said. You've kind of picked apart everything I had to say about it, but I'll just go into a few other points. No, that's fine. It's just when I watched the Jacobs fight, I thought he was showing Jacobs respect, and we didn't see, again, the body work. We didn't see him, varying up his punches. He kept maybe doing the same thing over and over and again. And I did think, it's maybe just showing him respect. Jacobs is very big on the night. He's a decent puncher himself. But you were right when you said a couple months ago that you think he can't pull the trigger anymore, because all the opportunities he had Canelo on the ropes, that's where he usually did his best work. I was watching highlights of the Stevens fight the other day, and anytime Stevens was against the ropes, that kind of left hook that he would pinpoint round the elbow, beautiful. The uppercuts on the inside, beautiful. But he didn't do anything against Canelo. But as you said, Canelo's defense, excellent. The way he would move, but both guys, to be honest, have to have props for the fact that they always move after they throw. They're not just a target there to catch a punch. They always move. Once they've thrown either a lead shot or a counter punch, you'll see Canelo, he'll always roll underneath or do some type of defense. But Canelo definitely did it more than Golovkin. And Golovkin, I thought his aggression wasn't effective enough. It's weird because in the arena I had it a draw. And then I put that on Twitter, and I had a lot of, kind of feedback from, it seemed like mostly UK, people I follow from the UK. And I found it interesting, and I did want to go back and watch the UK commentary. And Barry Jones, I think he was favouring, he'd say, Canelo landed a lot of cleaner shots, but I just favoured Golovkin because of maybe more shots. But I thought Golovkin's jab was on point, but not always it was landing. It was falling short quite often. I thought his right hand, you guys said it was awful, man. If a guy keeps repeatedly moving to his left, you either need to step across, you either need to throw the right hook a bit wider so it catches him as he's coming out, or you need to throw it where he's going to be. So if he's always going to that direction, don't throw it where he is, throw it where it's going to be. And Golovkin did none of that, man. And for a guy that's so intelligent in the ring, and you've seen that intelligence in previous fights, it was weird to see a guy not adjusting. I rewatched it in Vegas, and I had it a draw again. And that is me probably giving Canelo the closer rounds based off cleaner, effective shots. But if I have to, look back, I don't really see a win for Canelo. I'd probably see a slight win for Golovkin, 7-5, maybe 8-4, but I won't say it's a robbery. My timeline went crazily, yelling robbery after the fight, and it wasn't a robbery, man.
It depends how you score it, right, Cam? I think a lot of people had it And again, I'm not talking necessarily about their intentions or the bias, but if most people have it 8-4, I can understand why people claim it's a robbery if it ends up in a draw, right? Yes, you can have a couple of swing rounds and then you end up with a different score, but I think most people that scored at 8-4, they're pretty solid on the rounds that they've scored for Golovkin. So I kind of get where people are coming from. Again, I've heard some people say like, oh, if we didn't have that one bad scorecard and it would still end in a draw, people wouldn't be as outraged. I don't know about that, to be honest, because I think a lot of people just have a mindset that, I'm hinting to a particular person here that the ginger was going to get iced, and he didn't. In fact, he did really well. And again, people that say he was running, again, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because we're talking about Canelo here, not Erislandy Lara. Yeah. Yes, he moved backwards quite a bit of the fight, but he was also in front of Golovkin quite a bit of the fight, man. I seriously don't understand what the fuck you're watching. You're talking like you're watching a fleet-footed fighter. I mean, every time we talked about the fight beforehand, it's like, oh, he's got, his legs are in cement. He can't fucking move for 12 rounds. And that's exactly what happened. So I don't know. I don't understand why now you're saying, oh, he ran. He did not fucking run. That's a moronic statement. I think
because people expected him not to move, that anything else would be running. So it's like, oh, he moved backwards, so automatically that's running. But he did it effectively, man.
The difference is not expectation. The difference is they say he cannot move. They're saying he's incapable of doing it. And now you first you're saying he's not capable of doing it. There's a difference to me when Floyd says, for example, oh, I'm going to stand in the pocket and then he dances for 12 rounds, or when people say and the people get pissed about that and say he was running. There's a difference to me between that and when you have a fighter where you say he literally cannot because he's so fucking stocky and just doesn't have the stamina. Like, oh, it's impossible for him to do that, so he's going to get fucking iced. And then when he moves backwards a few times, you're like, oh, he ran from the fight. That's a fucking contradiction, yeah? And you're a fucking hypocrite if you make that statement, because that's not what happened, dude. He did exactly what you said he would. He was a little bit gassed on the ropes for how long of the fight? I mean, Canelo was alphaing the shit out of him at one point. He was literally just huffing and puffing on the ropes, begging him to come in. He was like looking at the fucking canvas like, what? What are you going to do? Hands down. What did Triple G do? He did fucking nothing, dude. He didn't capitalize on this shit. Honestly, again, you have to. I'm not making a case here for scoring for Canelo, but there were a lot of moments in the fight where he was fucking toying defensively with Triple G, and I'm not even trolling at this point. Like, he was literally standing with his hands down, even talking a little bit of shit, and Golovkin couldn't even hit him. And we are talking about Gennady Gnaevich Golovkin. So
Kazakhstan's finest import.
Exactly. So again, I don't understand these people that are talking about fucking running, man. Like, really, you need to go back and listen to yourself, because making a statement like that doesn't make sense. I just don't understand.
I get such a raging clue when you end your statements with a yeah.
I know, yeah. You can tell when I'm pissed, I start saying yeah.
I know, but just to kind of be on a more serious note, if Canelo was able to run like Erislandy Lara, he'd be one of the greatest fighters of all time. He just can't do that. He's not good enough on his feet to actually move like Erislandy Lara. But even if he was running, he wasn't doing a very good job at it. So I feel like the people who make those statements are mostly Gennady Golovkin defenders. And if that's the case, if you're really resting on the fact that Canelo ran, that says more about your fighter than it does on Canelo. Because if that motherfucker can't take advantage of a guy who's that poor at moving on his back feet, then he's really not that good of a fighter. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if you take that position, I think you're kind of committing yourself to that kind of thought process. And to me, this fight is it's so hard for me to digest, because I have been so high on Triple G for such a long time, and I've always defended him. And as much as I love Canelo, I just thought that Golovkin was going to shine on Saturday, and I felt like this was going to be his performance that kind of corrected his previous fight against Jacobs, and I don't think that's the case. Like I mentioned before, I don't think it's necessarily the physical factors, but this is just boxing is such a weird sport, and then everything changes so dramatically from fight to fight. It's not like any other sport where you have a consistent season where you can really judge and assess performances, I think, much more comprehensively. So a lot of it is so subjective, and that's the reason why people have such different thoughts on what's going to be the outcome of the fight. But I don't know. I guess it's just me thinking out loud. Like, I wonder where Golovkin goes from here. I mean, a rematch is probably most likely, but like, I'm just talking about legacy-wise, and I know legacy is something that a lot of people don't like to discuss, but I'm just bringing it up because I've been so high on Golovkin for such a long time, and I know this is kind of fickle for me to say, but I think these previous couple of fights kind of changed my kind of assessment of him as a fighter. Like, do you guys think that's fair for me to do something like that? To think of him that dramatically differently than maybe a couple years ago?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, Cam.
Elaborate.
I honestly thought he was going to be one of the best 160 fighters of all time. And when he started his reign at HBO like 4 or 5 years ago, I thought he was special. And a lot of that, honestly, is just his lack of opposition and people ducking him early in his career. And to tell you the truth, the middleweight division has been shit. So he hasn't even had the opponents to really shine against. But it just seems like, I don't know, man. He's what, 34, 35 years old, and in your 2 biggest fights, like, this is the outcome that you have. Like, I don't know. It's really difficult for me to kind of put him at that position where I thought he was going to be pretty adamantly a couple of years ago.
For me, I think it's a combination of his slight decline and his step up in competition. I think both have happened at the same time, and that's why he's kind of been exposed a bit.
You know what the thing is, like, there's different trains of thoughts regarding Golovkin, right? You have the people that say he was never really that good, he's one-dimensional, and the moment he stepped up, it showed. There's definitely a camp that has that opinion. I don't agree with that. The people that I do actually agree with, and I never really was in that camp to begin with, because I don't want to talk too much about who's ducking who or whatever, because we don't know that shit, we don't know what's going on in the background. But one point that people did make, is that his prime is passing him by, and he's not getting, the fights that are going to launch him in terms of legacy and in terms of money. And I always thought that was a fair point. And, if you ask me, Lim, I think that's pretty much what happened. And at the same time, does that discredit him, of the type of fighter that he was in his prime? No, not necessarily in terms of eye test, but it does in terms of achievement, right? Because if all your big fights, against your elite opposition is at the end of your career, you're not going to look that good, and I don't care what people say. That Golovkin that was in the ring against Canelo is not the same Golovkin that we saw 3 years ago. Not even looking at the opposition, just the way that he moves, the way that he throws his punches, the authority that he puts behind on his punches. It's not the same guy. Even in the first round, we saw it straight away. It's like, okay, this guy is moving, like the speed has been reduced by 2 factors. It just doesn't look right. So
I agree with that, but why is it so dramatic?
Because this is what happens in this boxing.
No, I understand that. Amir, but that steep of a decline is usually attributed to like wars, right? Like Cotto Margarito type of fights. Gennady hasn't had that.
I don't think it's just that.
It's puzzling to me, though. No, just because it's not like one of those things where he's still trying to be overtly aggressive. He's not even trying to be that aggressive anymore. That's what I'm really confused about. It's like he obviously has a fucking incredible chin by that overhand right that he took from Canelo that sparked you out of here. But if you have that invincibility factor, why aren't you more aggressive, man? Like, I really don't get that aspect.
Yeah, man, but I was winning the first 4 rounds, So I don't
I
know.
know,
It
Amir. I
happens
know
in
you were,
boxing,
but Amir,
It
you
happens.
just some people like Golovkin just aren't blessed with your hand speed, bro.
Well, I've got the fastest hands in boxing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't
no,
know, man. And let me say one more thing, and this is probably gonna catch a lot of people by surprise, but I honestly don't think Canelo is all that great. Like, I think he's very good, but I mean, again, this is a guy who's fought at 160 for a very, very long time in Golovkin, and you should have beaten him convincingly, in my opinion, all things considered. Like you said, and like we said, Canelo wasn't a very difficult target to reach, and even if you weren't that freakishly aggressive fighter that you once were, you still should have been able to capitalize a lot more than you did on Saturday.
here's the thing, right? Canelo is a great fighter, but his biggest flaw causes him to just not be great. Like his output and his stamina really prevents him from being, like a great fighter. Like when he's on, for like a minute of a round, he does some fantastic shit. When he lets his hands go, when he lets the combinations fly, when he counters, when even his defense, it's really is high level shit. But as soon as he has a rally, like he did, for example, in I think it was the 10th round, he just, you just see it. The chest starts heaving, and he just gasses straight away. He just doesn't have a good gas tank, and he always has to rely on recovering. Like his fight is like a constant recovery. Like he fights and then he recovers. He fights a little bit and then he recovers. Whereas Golovkin has more of a flow, into what he's doing. It's kind of like a constant pace, a constant work rate. And Canelo just doesn't have that. If Canelo had better stamina, man, he would be something else. But it just, it's really is a massive flaw that this, I think, will get him in trouble as well at 160 when he faces other guys.
And even in addition to that, though, it's the fact that he slaps a lot against Golovkin, and that was again a concern that I've always had, and I think a lot of it is obviously deliberate. He's not fighting Kirkland, he's not fighting Angulo, he's not fighting these heavy backs, so obviously he's going to be much more conservative in how much he follows through on his punches. But even then, like, the way he throws his straight right hand, he throws it like Broner a lot. He just kind of watches it. Like, he likes doing that kind of flashy shit that doesn't really do anything. So, I don't know. I think the thing that impressed me a ton about Canelo was his chin and the fact that he can take big boy punches at 160. So, I think he's going to be a problem at that weight class, considering how the rematch goes. But I don't know, man. This fight was good. I thought it was a very good fight, but it really didn't. It left me with more questions than answers, I think, regarding both fighters and kind of how I viewed them prior to the fight and afterwards.
Watching it back, though, I must say that I did really like the fight. Like, it was, I like the fight, man. It didn't really have high drama, but it had a really good pace to it. I don't know. I really like the pace of the fight. I like the shifts in momentum constantly, right? You have, then they're standing in the center of the ring. Then one of them is moving backwards. Then one of them is on the ropes, and you kind of have those constant. It was a very dynamic fight. That's what I liked about it. And both guys were working, despite Canelo taking some moments off. He did have some flashes of brilliance, man. He really did. And Golovkin was always in his face. So I really enjoyed it. Even watching it on TV, I thought it was a great fight. No, sorry, it was a good fight, not a great fight. And I'm absolutely down for the rematch. How do you think the rematch would go?
I think it favors Canelo. Again, for the simple fact that Golovkin's getting older. And if we're really going to take the logical position that his deterioration is strictly due to age and deteriorating, if their fight in May of next year, I mean, that only adds to that conundrum. So I think Canelo, with this fight, kind of understanding Golovkin, and I don't care what his position was prior to the fight. I'm sure he's alpha as fuck and he wasn't fearing Golovkin, but I still think you always have a natural fear of Golovkin just because of his the legacy of him. And I think having been in the ring with him already, I just think it favors Canelo. So I could see Canelo beating Golovkin by a really close decision, kind of like what this fight obviously wasn't. But just, I don't know, maybe winning a couple rounds more and just kind of understanding what it feels like to be in the ring with a weight of that caliber.
It's got to be a huge confidence booster to have gone 12 rounds with him and even finishing the fight strong, right? That's something that Canelo did really, really well. Like he let it all go in the last few rounds. So I do think he'll have confidence from this. And like you said, Golovkin will age, and I think it will go rapid now. You know, like we've seen a kind of a rapid decline now from the last fight to this fight. It'll get worse, and you know, it just like it happens to everybody in boxing. At one point, that chin will go, and you know, unless your name is fucking Bernard Hopkins, it'll go in your late 30s. I mean, that's kind of the pattern that we see, right? And Golovkin, in especially in the last fight, you know, he kind of, I don't want to sound harsh, but he kind of started fucking blocking punches with his face a little bit. You know, he really doesn't have too much head movement. Sometimes he does a little bit of crafty shit in there when he's on the inside, but overall, he's quite easy to get hit these days, man. And you know, if Canelo starts landing bombs on him and he's, you know, what is he going to be next year? 36 or 37? I don't know. It's gonna give at one point, you know. And you've been in there with the beast Kell Brook eating chocolate brownies as well. That shit's gonna take its toll, you know.
I hear you.
What do you think, Cam?
I would favour Canelo in a rematch just because of all the points you make, and I think they would favour to fight maybe Billy Joe in December, but I think Golden Boy will pull that shit out that he can't fight an interim fight if they do intend to fight a rematch in May, so that will just stretch out Golovkin even longer. And I do think he's maybe another reason for the decline is the weight. He's been at that weight all his career, more or less, and his body is a lot more aged now, and possibly we may see the old Golovkin back if he steps to 68, but if he continues at 60, I'm not sure.
Nah, man, I wouldn't want him to see him move up to 168.
He ain't going there. I don't think
because
he's
it's a
going
fair
there.
division. I mean, it's even worse. It just makes no sense from like a financial perspective. But let me ask you guys something a little bit, I think, crazy. How do you think he does against Billy Joe Saunders?
You know what the funny thing is, and I did want to talk about that. Despite the Willie the Worm fight being fucking terrible, Saunders did look good. He looks very sturdy, man. He looks very solid. He looked sharp. He looked fast. You know, he just looked good. I mean, for his level, right? I mean, I'm not saying he looks like a world beater all of a sudden, but I can definitely see a big difference between the Saunders of the previous fights. It's quite a massive difference, actually, between this Saunders and the one that fought that Russian bum or whatever, where he was struggling. He looks solid. We've all seen the way his body looks. I don't think it's a clear-cut victory for Golovkin, especially when he's aging. I mean,
Right.
I can see Billy Joe giving him some issues. And I know the fight was fought at a very slow pace, but his gas tank looked okay. I'm not suggesting anything, but, you know, Ingles got him in good shape. So I wouldn't necessarily count him out. I really don't think so.
Yeah, and that was kind of the point that I was kind of hinting at. I mean, I would still pick Golovkin win, obviously, but I think it's enough of a risk where you're right. I think Golden Boy would highly favor him not taking that fight just for the simple possibility of him potentially losing. So, yeah, I think with that into consideration, hopefully, I really want the fight to happen in Dallas. I think that'd be pretty cool if it took place in Dallas in May of next year, but I highly doubt it again just because Vegas is it's too much of an easy solution to make a lot of money.
Yeah, I wish it would happen in Dallas as well. That would be a good trip to go to, but yeah, I think we all know that's not it's not gonna happen. I'd be down though. I'd be down to go again, man. For sure.
For sure.
Let me hit
Man,
that
for sure.
But yeah,
Can't wait to hit that for
imagine
sure.
Billy. Imagine Billy actually fights him and fucking takes all the belts. That would be a disaster.
All right.
That'd be fucking terrible.
That'd be fucking terrible.
Yeah.
All right, you guys got anything else about the main event?
No, man, I think overall I'm okay with Adelaide versus scorecard because I judge fights by how many alpha moments does each fighter have. To me, Canelo had about 97 alpha moments, and Triple G had 2. And that's based on pure science.
Remember when he headlocked him and then gave him a little slap on the head?
He did a little N1 street ball in the back punch.
That was a bitch move.
That was fucking beautiful.
Canelo was toying with him, bro. It was amazing.
All right, undercard-wise... Sorry, go on.
It is the start of Miera, though. I mean, this is the Canelo era.
Miera.
I think we all need to recognize that, and you better fucking get used to it, man. And I'm never gonna throw my bandana away ever. I'm still wearing it, by the way, in Abu Dhabi.
Miera, bro. No boxing, no life, man. I just want to prolong this discussion as long as possible, so we don't have to talk about the undercard.
Well, I'm not really
Should we
going to
talk
talk
about the entrance once again?
I'm not really going to talk about it. Basically, we got into the arena halfway through the Jojo Diaz fight, so I can't really comment on it. I've not watched it back yet, not had time. But I did read that it was easy work for Jojo. Just disappointing that Lara got injured in a training session the week of the fight, so that was a bit disappointing because I thought otherwise it would have been a pretty good fight. I heard Randy Caballero got the shit beat out of him by Diego De La Hoya. Again, I've not seen it, but from what I read, it was pretty convincing win by Diego. That's about it. Nicola Adams was supposed to be on there, but her opponent pulled out, or there was an issue with her opponent, and her partner Marlon Esparza won a 6-rounder. But I'm pretty done on that card, guys, unless you guys want to add anything else.
I was about to say, who gives a fuck, man, when you have a main event like that? Seriously. Good lord. That fucking entrance. It was beautiful. Viva Mexico. And the anthem, Cam. Oh, my God. God damn.
They do have a really incredible anthem.
It's
amazing. But the American one was pretty nice as well. The singer of the American anthem was actually the best. She was amazing.
That Mexican lady was a gorgeous. So.
Oh, she was.
Many dramas in my pants. Many actions.
Naota calling me a fucking casual fag. Well, at least I went to the StubHub, you little bitch. Shut the fuck up. Anyway.
Bro, we don't air our dirty laundry over there, bro. Come on, man. Be professional, dog. If you have a problem with Naota, add him. Just add him on Twitter, bro. Slide into his DMs. That's the way you handle business. Alright, bro. No, but I don't know, Cam. Anything else that you want to touch on, Cam?
I do want to talk about a few other things, but just Chemo, just Vegas overall. Obviously, your first trip to Vegas. A few other people we met. I met Idol for Real from Twitter, friend of the show. Trying to think who else did I meet. We met Brian King. He wasn't there to go. I don't know. You got a selfie with Tommy Hearns. You also got a selfie with Badu Jack. We saw BJ Flores busting some moves on the dance floor with his girl. We saw Lukey's favourite fighter, Sergio Mora.
Yeah, we are serious, by the way. BJ Flores was like doing salsa dance moves, man. He's a fucking baller, dude.
Yeah. Anything else you want to mention or add, Chemo?
No, just shout out to everybody that we hung out with. Also, my boy Peter. And, yeah, there's a bunch of other shit, but I'm not going to say that over the air. It was just a really good time, man. Again, first time in Vegas for me. It's a fucking...
I don't know. It's like a disconnect from the world. You're in this crazy ass fucking Disneyland for adults, and you just kind of forget about everything else that's going on in the world. Most of the time, you're pretty shit faced, but it really is just a lot of fun, man. I get how it can be overkill if you stay there for too long or if you've been there too many times. But god damn it, it was fun. I definitely want to come back for a couple of more fights. For sure. We need to do that again.
For sure.
And by the way, I don't know if some of the people are listening, but there were a lot of fucking people in Vegas, and we didn't get to meet up with everybody. It's quite unfortunate because when you have that many fucking people roaming around the city, it sucks that you don't get to organize everything. But there's always next time, man. So if we haven't met anybody and it didn't end up happening, too fucking bad. But we'll do it next time. Chat. Anything else you want to add, Cam?
Vegas-wise, no, man. Just props to all the people I met. Had a good time. I probably enjoyed it a bit more than last time because last time was a kind of quick pit stop. This time I kind of get to spend more time in Vegas, and I enjoyed it a lot more.
And it was really disappointing, by the way, we didn't get to do a photo with Sergio Mora, man.
For sure.
Me, Brian, and Vic were all just standing there, really tense, just waiting for that moment to capture the selfie. But then before we knew it, he walked off, and he was never to return. So
yeah, he was having an intense conversation with Kelly Pavlik.
Yeah, I think that was probably the biggest factor. Like, we were scared shitless to go up to Kelly Pavlik because we might get a fucking beer bottle in our neck. Like, that dude, he looked fucking jacked as well. He looked massive, dude. Yeah. By the way, Badou Jack is really not a big guy. Me and Brian were talking about this. When you meet him, and I put my arm around his shoulder, it's crazy that he's
okay.
Yeah, I know, but it's crazy that he fights at light heavy, man. He really is not a big dude. His overall frame is just, I don't know. It doesn't surprise me maybe that he ducked Bivol because Bivol's kind of thick, So, yeah. I'm very curious how he's going to progress at that weight because his frame is really not that big. I've never seen Kovalev in person. Maybe you guys have. Maybe you have, Lim. But yeah, I can imagine Kovalev is way fucking bigger, way bigger.
Yeah, bro. I like to put my arms around a lot of fighters and just judge how big they are, and I definitely think Kovalev is bigger, man. 100%.
He can bang, bro.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I think the highlight for me in Vegas was our Italian dinner.
Care to explain?
No, it was just a good time, man. We had some really good food, and we just chopped it up about life, and Cam really hit it off with the owner of the restaurant.
Yeah, shout out to that Korean barbecue that we did, man. Holy cow.
That was something else.
Yeah.
And the chicken wings of the first day, that was amazing as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Tim, what do you think about the Korean barbecue?
Well, I didn't partake, so.
You and Abe should be in the non-gook food club, man. You guys are fucking haters. Anyway. Do we have anything else to elaborate on?
Yeah, I just want to do kind of 10, 15 minutes just on a few other things. You touched on it before, Billy Joe and Willie the Worm, or Willie the Mongoose, whatever. Basically, that was a terrible fight. Monroe barely did anything. His output was so low. I see what you mean about Billy Joe, but I don't know. I thought he was a bit sloppy at times. The backhand wasn't always straight. It was kind of looped, but it's better than some of his recent performances, and he did look in really good shape, especially at the weigh-in when his son punched Willie Monroe in the balls, which was quite funny, and then he apologised after the fight.
I like the backhand myself, mate. It was really good.
What else? Daniel Dubois almost killed that dude. The ref shouldn't have.
What the fuck was that?
The ref shouldn't have let it go on after that second knockdown, I don't think. That was dangerous. The ref should have stopped it. But yeah, that third shot and that guy, I was kind of scared for the dude, man. Even though I knew afterwards, because I watched it the next day, that he was okay, man. It was a bit scary.
Dude, what are the odds that either Daniel Dubois or Anthony Yard will murder somebody in the next 2 years? I honestly want to know what the odds are because these guys are very powerful, and they are fighting some really, really lackluster opposition. Even though I thought the guy that faced Dubois was actually in shape, but like it's quite scary. So I hope not, but one of these days it might go fucking wrong and it's gonna be bad. So I hope Warren starts matching them up with somebody decent. And again, with Anthony Yard as well. Why the fuck are you fighting this fucking nobody when you had the chance to fight Burton, but you fucking bitched out?
Yeah, he was kind of making excuses about that in his post-fight and some of the VT that they wrote before the fight. And it's basically, well, I want to fight Buglioni, and he's already beat Jose Burton, so why should I need to fight Burton? But that's not the point. Why don't you do a better job on Burton than he did? And then, I'd rather see you fight Burton than fight this basically middleweight who's fighting at light heavy, because when he fought Dirrell and when he fought Callum Smith, he was fighting at 168, and even then he was pretty small for the weight, and he had nothing to offer you, man. So why are you fighting this dude? The matchmaking with Yard has been pretty poor so far, I think, with Warren. Even though he's not... they always bring it back to the not much amateur experience. Yeah, but you can see after eye test he's more talented than that, so then why fight this level of competition?
Well, that's a total contradiction, right? On the one hand, you're making excuses for his poor resume and saying he needs to develop slow. And then on the other hand, you are discrediting a potential opponent, just by dismissing him and saying, oh, I want to fight Buglioni. Well, what the fuck? Fight both. Why aren't you getting the experience in? Like, this is just a stupid argument. And it's got fuck all to do with, like, it's a better business to fight Buglioni or it's not enough money. Shut the fuck up, man. You have a resume of absolutely nothing. Like, you have a resume of zero. You might as well fucking fight fucking trash cans, honestly. Like, who the fuck have you beaten? It is absolutely a terrible, terrible resume that doesn't say anything about your talent. So if you have a fight with Jose Burton, and I know Eddie's a little bit of a smooth talker, but if he's offering you semi-decent money to fight somebody who will give you good experience, why the fuck are you not taking it? It just doesn't make sense to me. I really don't. It's not like the guy has 30 fights and you're looking for that big money maker and you're like, gonna wait it out. No. This is not Golovkin waiting for Canelo. You are a fucking nobody. I don't know why you're picking and choosing at this point when you claim that you need the experience. So it's just fucking stupid. I really don't understand that. And then you're gonna beat up some fucking bum. I didn't even realize Yard was on that card, by the way, until the YouTube video came out. I was like, oh, he actually fought somebody. Well, somebody with half a pulse. So.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, with Dubois, I don't really care at this point because the guy's 20 years old. And they obviously have to build him, but with Yard it's different. They're talking shit. They're trying to, like they'll do a little matchmaker here and there. Like, fuck off, man. Seriously, dude. And the arguments that they present are just ludicrous. And I don't get Warren either. The shit he's talking in the media. I mean, what is it? Is there something we don't know, or is Jose Burton a beast suddenly? What is it? Take the fucking fight. Knock him out, and then you can move on. I mean, Buglioni had a mandatory anyway, right? So I don't get the point. Like, there is no argument here to not take the fight.
Yeah, I think Buglioni's fighting Callum Johnson, who's also a Gallagher fighter. But like you said, you're fighting so often anyway. Anytime Warren has a card in London, you're on it. So why not fight Burton rather than some... I think they were saying he was short notice, though. He was supposed to fight a better guy. I'm not 100% sure if that's correct, but I think I did hear it when I was watching it back. But even so, man, like, just find better opposition. But
Cam, you and I know that's horseshit, right? I mean, look at the level that he's been facing. Last minute or not, come on, man.
Yep.
It's all these cards are all versus TBA until a couple of weeks out. So
Yeah.
I really don't give a fuck.
A few more things before I let you go, Chemo and Dan. This news that you mentioned earlier about Bivol and Badu Jack, I don't see the sense of him vacating, because then why fight cleverly in the first place? Like,
it's a bit weird, right? Like, yeah, go on.
That was a big card. Just timing wise, it made perfect sense. Obviously, with the Conor Floyd card, but other than that, I don't know.
well,
I mean, he can say he won another championship. I kind of agree with you, Cam. I don't really see the point. But then again, we don't know what's going on in the background. I'm hearing some people say that he's in the making for an Adonis Stevenson fight, and he's vacating for whatever the fuck the reason is. I don't really know, but what I do know is that the next fight will say a lot. You know, if it's against a nobody, then obviously he has some reservations about fighting it that way, and he kind of cherry picked cleverly, and he wants to take it a bit slower and not just be a quote unquote champion straight away and start facing the top 5 guys. But if he takes a fight with Adonis, it's all good with me. I don't give a shit about the belt. So go ahead and fight him, and that's a good goddamn fight that I will tune in for.
I agree, but I was kind of looking forward to him and Bivol. I thought that would be, on paper, as a really good fight.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, I guess.
Good stylistic matchup.
Yeah, it's probably a real nice technical boxing match with quite a bit of power going around. So yes, I do agree. I would have enjoyed that as well. But as they say, it is what it is.
Yeah, I just didn't, because I think Jack knew ahead of time that the winner would have to face Bivol. So the fact that you've gone into this fight, but to Lim's point, you know, it was on a big card, and to someone's point in the chat, you know, it's a belt. You can say he's a 2-weight world champion, even though hardcores kind of know who actually is a decent multi-weight champion, and casuals probably.
What belt was that?
Cleverly, is it WBA Super or regular? I'm not even sure. I think it was the regular, but WBA.
Oh, wow, I thought it was some made-up belt, like some mega
some like
belt,
WBC made-up belt.
Yeah, like that, where they commemorate bullshit fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chemo.
I think the belt for the Canelo Triple G one was some like horrendous. I don't even know what the fuck it was about, but
supremacy belt.
Hencho belt.
It's atrocious.
It was. Chemo, a lot of news regarding Frampton lately. First of all, training with Jamie Moore, and secondly, signing up with Frank Warren. What's your thoughts on that?
Who's Jamie Moore, Chemo?
He's a legend of British boxing. Yeah, he had an absolute tear up with Mac the Knife, and if you haven't seen it, watch it. It's one of the greatest fights of all time. And I like Jamie Moore, but on commentary he was fucking terrible. But anyway, it's a very, very strange happening what's going on with Carl Frampton. I don't really like it, to be honest. I feel like it's kind of derailing his career a little bit. I don't know. I don't fucking trust Warren. He's too hit or miss these days, you know? Like, I know Barry's a fucking suspect as well with that pull out of the Mexican dude when they had that fight in Belfast. But I wouldn't, if there was a big fight, you know, with Frampton in Belfast, and that's also on my bucket list to go to, I would be a little bit hesitant to book my flight if it's a Warren card. Do you get what I'm saying, Cam? Like, I wouldn't necessarily trust that shit.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I'm not really happy with that. And despite what people say about Eddie, you know, he would fucking make that event happen in the stadium, and he would do it right. I don't give a shit what anybody says. He definitely would. So I was kind of hoping he would sign with Matchroom just to piss everybody else off, you know, and have that little controversy going that he leaves Barry for Eddie. But yeah, I think he kind of just did it out of ego. And like you alluded to before, Cam, he probably must have just put a lot of money on the table, and Frampton took it. So, what can I say? Let's see what he does with this. It's a very big signing. So, if Warren's smart, he's gonna put on some major fucking events and use Frampton for the draw that he is, and kind of get a little bit of momentum back in his career, So we'll see what happens. What do you think is next for him, Cam?
Whether he has a tune-up in Ireland, most likely, but then I think the Warrington fight has to happen. It's a big fight over here, both in Ireland or in Leeds, so I think that's most likely the direction we're going into.
I don't even have the patience for a tune-up at this point, to be honest.
Neither do I, but I assume that they're going to try and have I definitely think Frampton needs one. I don't think Warrington does, but his performance against Kiko wasn't that great, so he'd probably just have one as well. Maybe put him on the undercard to kind of build it up or some shit.
But he's already fighting a fucking tune-up fight now.
Who is?
Warrington.
When?
Dude, he got a fight signed, man, against, what's his... I don't even know the guy, but
I'm just checking.
I can just look it up now.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
No, I've seen the banner on Twitter, dude, 100%.
Oh, he's fighting Dennis Salin. Yeah, sorry, my bad, I forgot about it.
How good is Warrington?
Technically, he's good, he just lacks power, so any come-forward guy, he just can't keep him off him, man. Like, Kiko, old Kiko gave him big issues. I thought Kiko won that fight as well.
I think I did it too. I think I did too, actually. Yeah, Warrington is very flawed. He's decent. He's got a decent work rate, great stamina, good legs, but he's got no fucking power whatsoever. And yeah, once he has a guy that's kind of putting the pressure on him, he will struggle, which is not what Carl Frampton is. So that actually might be an interesting fight. But I know that a lot of people that we talk to have said that Frampton knocks his ass out, which I wouldn't be too quick to jump to that conclusion. I think Warrington has a good chin, so we'll see what happens. Hey, man, I hope that they put that shit in Leeds, and then all the fucking Northern Irish come over to that stadium, and then we'll just get a crazy fucking war. That would be epic.
It would indeed. Lim, any thoughts, or so we move on?
Oh, I'm just fucking disappointed with everything that's transpired in Frampton's career, man. Like Kimo mentioned, Belfast was definitely a bucket list item for me as well, and it seems like with all these developments that coming into fruition seems a little bit more dubious than previously thought.
I don't actually think Warren's signing with Warren's a bad thing, because he has got the support of BT behind him. I just think the Jamie Moore thing just almost seems like a panic buy. You know, when you buy something out of kind of frustration, or you just need something quickly. It seems like Jamie Moore was there. It's the whole MTK maybe link up, and he just quickly decided that he's going to go with Moore. I think there's better trainers out there for him.
Dude, you should have trained Cam. Honestly, man. Cam and Carl the Jackal, that would have been a beautiful pairing.
Carl, I want you to switch southpaw blood.
How old? Yeah, Cam would be like, you need a triple jab, Carl. Triple jab.
Go to the buddy.
Anyways, I don't know, man. The whole thing with Carl and that whole weight missing thing too, like, do you guys know, did he miss weight because he kind of knew, you think, in the back of my mind, this fight wasn't coming, that this fight wasn't going to take place? Or like,
it's crazy. I'm not sure.
Really weird.
There's a lot of kind of conspiracy theories behind it, Lim, right. But it's crazy, especially with like Gutierrez like slipping in the shower and getting cut. But now he's fighting. Right. Now he's fighting Leo Santa Cruz or Mares, one of them. I don't know. I think he's fighting Mares.
The thing with Frampton too is like, I mean, it's not the same situation as Chocolatito, but he's another one of those guys where really like his body frame is so weird. Like, he's such a stocky guy for that weight division. Like, he shouldn't have too many issues you would expect at 126, but maybe it's just him being old too. I think he's 30 now, and at 126, that's not really a prime age, so to speak. So I really, really hope that that second Santa Cruz fight wasn't kind of like the best we've seen from Carl.
Yeah, I agree.
And it might be honestly. Because I thought he looked, a bit poor from that second fight from the first one.
Yep. All right, quickly moving on. Danny Jacobs signing with Matchroom USA. Announced her opponent. I don't know who it is, but what do you think about the initial signing, Lim?
That's strange. I don't understand it. I don't doubt Eddie though. I mean, obviously Eddie's a bright guy. He's probably the best promoter in the business, so I trust him to obviously know what he's fucking doing. But I just don't understand kind of like the foresight in it. Like, so what? He's going to be fighting. Like, where is he going to fight?
Most
Like,
likely in the
it's
States.
obviously Matchroom.
Yeah, most likely
Right,
still
but then
still in New York.
Okay, so if he does that, I mean, is the idea that, like, so I guess my question is, do you think he's creating this whole Matchroom US or whatever derivation it is to bolster kind of like his domestic product in the UK, or is he just trying to create like a brand new entity that's going to rival, like PBC or Golden Boy, or is this simply just like an extension so that he can have like I guess a better relationship
There's
with those domestic? I
there's
don't know.
so many angles to look at it from Lim. Obviously, first of all, we got him that he's always kind of wanting to spread his wings in the US, and at the moment, I'd say his roster is kind of thinning out a bit. A lot of his guys are getting old; they're kind of coming to the end of their career, and he's mainly focused on AJ and on like the Olympians he's bringing through. With HBO, the deal is tied with HBO as well, so you could say maybe now some of the deal might be leaned on that HBO will get access to AJ's American fight. So if AJ starts to come over and fights in the US now, he might be exclusive to HBO rather than I think he's mainly been on Showtime, and they had a joint deal for the Klitschko deal. I think HBO showed it afterwards, non-live, but. Yeah, I think that's the thing. The idea is just going to bring up maybe the more talented people, and then some of the younger guys, some of the Olympians will just be on kind of undercards in the US to gain their gain experience and be kind of thrown into the public eye, because he did say that in his interview yesterday when it kind of got announced on the Sky show last night in the middle of the night that Jacobs was signing, and Jacobs looks quite positive about it, and he's never really had a promoter really, because even though like DeBella was promoting, it's basically the management deal he had with Heyman, so I guess he's still being managed by Heyman, but Matchroom will be his promoter.
That's so weird. And I'm looking at his backstory right now, and he's fighting Luis Arias.
Yeah.
At the Nassau Coliseum. It's just, I don't know. I don't really know how to really decipher it, but I think you're right, Cam. It's probably some kind of partnership with AJ. It seems like Manitrim is kind of like Golden Boy in the sense that they have one prize asset that their entire operations revolves around. Hey, if you have that big of an asset, use it to your advantage. But, with HBO cutting such a large portion of their budget from boxing, I mean, you wouldn't consider Danny Jacobs as one of the candidates to try to revive that. It just seems kind of strange. So it does seem like this was a signing with definite ulterior motives.
What is that arena? Nassau's Coliseum? Lim, is it a small arena or?
Isn't that in Long Island?
Yeah, why don't you share your insight, bro?
Well,
About the stadium.
I'm just fucking confused by it, because I don't really, I don't want to sound like an insider here, but I don't get the business case behind this, right? I don't really know what Eddie wants to gain from this. I'm not quite sure if this is a purely, long-term plan that he's got, or it's simply almost an ego thing that he wants to invade the USA and kind of make his move over there and just kind of try to take it over. I don't really know. I think he's got in terms of what he's done in the UK, I think he's got a fantastic thing going. And I'm not talking about the quality of the fights, but I'm talking about his overall, like power and dominance in the market, the brand that he's established. He's got all these fucking casuals that come out to his show and they eat up whatever he wants. But again, that's that's not just purely a boxing thing. I think that's a little bit of a British thing as well. Like he's just got a feel for that market. He knows how to promote people locally as well. You know, in each of their cities, he does it the right way. And I don't really know what the fuck he plans to do, especially with a guy like Jacobs. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic fighter, but you know, what is he really going to do with him? Is he going to turn him into a star suddenly in the U.S.? I don't see him do that. So again, I wonder what the fuck is he going to do with this?
Yeah, and just to answer your question, Cam, the Nassau Coliseum is this newly renovated stadium. I think it was renovated. I think it was out of commission for quite some time, and then they just renovated it. So it's a fairly large coliseum. I think it holds, I don't know, anywhere from 16 to 20,000 people. It's kind of like on the scale of T-Mobile, but it is in Long Island City, which is obviously not Manhattan or not one of the main 5 boroughs in New York. So it wouldn't garner as much money, which is, again, a little bit confusing as to why he would be Eddie's premier signing, or his foremost signing, rather. But it's probably just one of those things where it's really easy to create a boxing extension in the States. I don't even know what kind of processes you would have to go through, right, to create Matchroom USA or Matchroom Dubai. Like, you know, like how much effort would that really create?
Matchroom Dubai, I will definitely.
I'm just saying, like, or Matchroom Korea. I'm sure you could talk to a couple of people, and then, like, within 10 minutes, you have Matchroom, whatever the fuck country it is that you're targeting. But I don't know, man. And like Kimo said, I think it's hard to replicate what Eddie has in the UK with here in the States. You know, the States it's too disparate, I think, and it's just too big of a country to create that nationalistic domestic environment that he's done so well in the UK.
Well, one thing he does get is like I said, is how to promote locally, and maybe he thinks he can kind of replicate that. I'm not saying on a national level, but at least on a state/city level, you know, kind of like what Top Rank is doing with Terrence Crawford, you know. I don't think if you go across America and you ask people who the fuck Terrence Crawford is, I don't think anybody really knows. Yeah. But, you know, you put him in Omaha, Nebraska, and he fucking sells out an arena, and you get one of the most live TV crowds there is at the moment in the States. So I don't know. Maybe he sees that. You know, maybe he sees what's happened in the PBC, and he saw DeGill fighting in a fucking gym in Boston, and he realizes, like, wait, there's an untapped market here available for me to go grab. So who knows? Maybe we'll see Jacobs, you know, fight in Brooklyn in front of an actual legit live audience. We don't know, but again, to me, it doesn't really make sense. I think he's got enough work to focus on, you know, in the UK market, and I don't really understand how he's going to combine the two, also in terms of effort. So,
yeah,
but it sure is interesting. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I've said it numerous times. I think his UK market has gone downwards. Like, you look at some of the cards he's had, they're really poor. But Lim, if there's any openings at Matchroom US and the pay is good, will you be applying?
No.
Come on, bro. You always like Eddie.
Bro. Yeah, man, but come on, dude. It's boxing, bro. There's no money.
Bad for business, bro.
It's not good for business, bro. No, but in all seriousness, I'll probably take a look at any kind of career openings. But like I mentioned to you, Cam, I did apply for a job at Golden Boy, and I actually got word from what their salary is like, and it's fucking shite. So
fucking terrible.
I don't think that's likely. But I don't know.
But you get to hang with Oscar, though. That
is true.
Free coke.
I've always been told that you don't want to mix professional with private. So I don't know if that would be a wise move. But yeah, I don't know, Cam. Any other news? I kind of want to discuss a couple of fights that actually took place over this past weekend.
That's tomorrow, bro. You can't do that today. That's tomorrow.
Are you serious? So
yeah,
this is a one-off special?
This is a one-off US special.
But I won't be there tomorrow, man. So we need to discuss it.
Who cares about you?
Bro, that's on you, dude.
Stay up late, bro. Pull a sickie on Tuesday.
Motherfucker, I just got back to work.
If you guys want to talk about anything, go ahead. Then I've not watched everything this weekend, so you guys go ahead.
Which one are you referring to, Lynn?
Me?
Yeah. Were you being serious that you want to discuss a few fights?
Of course not, man. He's on vacation. He's not watched anything.
You know what's actually sad, Cam? I probably watched more boxing this weekend than I have in the past 12 months. I actually watched the 3 main events. I watched Linares Campbell, I watched Fury Parker, and I watched some of Dordikos versus Kudryashov.
Oh, shit. What's going on, Lim? Like, normally you don't watch shit.
I'm surprised you sat through the Fury fight. That was fucking terrible.
I did. I kind of did. I put it on 1.5 speed, 1.5 times, so watched it in much shorter time than most. But no, the fight that I really wanted to talk about was the Valdez versus the Filipino guy. But no, Cam, honestly, it doesn't really have to be much. I'm not gonna be on it tomorrow, but I just thought it was a really good weekend of fights. And I have to fucking apologize to Luke Campbell, man. That's what happens when you talk shit on a fighter you don't know much about. And I thought Campbell won that fight, dude.
Right.
What?
I had Linares.
Are you fucking tripping or what?
I'm kidding. But I did think Campbell did pretty damn well. And
Yeah,
Linares is vulnerable, man.
Campbell did a lot better than I thought, man. I thought that counter right hook was working really well. He just kept he just kept catching Linares and unsettling him, and then he'd have to kind of come again. And I thought, like, the middle part of the fight, Linares kind of switched off, and he wasn't really doing much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was so comfortable, dude. He wasn't. Honestly, again,
you can't win rounds for being comfortable, bro.
Exactly. It's just, the thing is, it's a trend for Linares. It's not one of those things where, this is just one of those situations where you're just going to coast. Like, he always does this. And that's problematic, man, once it becomes a trend. So I just think it goes back to the Salido type of fighters that Linares had trouble with like 10 fights ago. Like, if you fight somebody that tough and durable, I think he has issues, man.
I think Campbell's performance is so overrated, man. People are like, "Oh, he's so brave," and "Oh, he did so well." He didn't do that well, honestly. He did the same shit over and over and over again.
And Linares kept getting touched with it, man.
There was barely any power on the shots. Honestly, Linares was fucking chilling.
No, I understand that, but like, why do you let somebody? Obviously, Linares is a better fighter. Like, he's a better skilled fighter, and that was kind of the biggest tell for me in that fight. Was that
there's the problem with Campbell? Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
I'm saying, like, why do you let that fight be that close when you're obviously that much better than the guy? Man?
But I don't think it was close. I don't think it was close at all. And I felt like watching him in the ring. I felt like he felt the same way. Like, I know he switches off in fights, and he's done it against many guys, like Kevin Mitchell, for example. And then sometimes he gets in a little bit of trouble. But in this fight, he was smiling. He was just dominating, in my opinion. Like, honestly, he wasn't struggling. Everything Campbell was landing as well were fucking arm punches, man. I mean, Hamada said this ages ago. This guy fights like a fucking fencer. He was on the back foot. There's no leverage on his punches. I don't know what people are talking about, man. Honestly, I still think Campbell is incredibly flawed, and to me, he's not an elite fighter. He's not. Every time Linares chose to throw some punches, it would literally move Campbell. It would outclass him in speed and technique. I mean, I don't know what the fuck people were watching, honestly.
I had it 116, 111. If you look at the way Linares would counter punching combinations against Corolla, like, he did none of that, and that was a lot due to Campbell, especially like maybe after halfway through the fight, he would start to throw a lot more combinations. Initially, it was more like 1-1-2s and that kind of sneaky right hook. But when he started to throw like 4s and 5s and 6s, like, Linares didn't really have any answer. He kept just looking for that jab, and then that quick 1-2, which in the second half of the fight he was missing quite often. Early on, he dropped Campbell quite early and caused that cut. But I don't even know if that was the issue. We see it again, time and time again, where a guy drops a guy quite early, goes into kind of cruise control, maybe thinks that he'll get to him again, doesn't, and gets outworked by the other guy. I honestly don't get it. And then fuck Sky as well for, he's so brave.
Motherfucker, this is your world title shot, and you're on the back foot the whole fucking fight. Shut the fuck up, honestly. You know Linares, there's only one way to get at him. And that's to fucking push the pace. And that's to come forward and put it on his ass.
Kimo,
You didn't do that.
I'm not arguing the fact that Campbell won. I had Linares winning. I just thought Luke did better than I expected.
Yeah, because he's a fucking bum. He sucks. You should fucking rematch Mendy, and then we'll talk. Seriously. Fucking Hearn as well. He's like, oh, yeah, he lost to Mendy, and then he rebuilt himself. He went to Miami, and then he's looked impeccable since. No, he hasn't. Who the fuck has he fought?
Yeah, he's fought no one since.
He has fought absolutely goddamn nobody. And when Linares was letting his hands go, he looked fucking lost, dude. Look at the way he got dropped, man. And then we're gonna give this guy props for getting off the canvas. I mean, what? You want him to quit and everybody fucking rages or what? Like,
yeah.
I don't understand.
Kimo, he had double vision, after that knockdown throughout the whole fight. Come on, bro.
Get the fuck out of here, man. I literally cannot stand his fighting style. It is so inefficient. It doesn't have anything on it. He throws so many arm punches, it just pisses me off. It's just all arm punches. Even his hook to the body. Like there's no twisting of the hips or whatever. It's just fucking terrible technique, man. It's such an amateur style. I mean, really. And by the way, split decision I think is disgraceful. That was a fucking UD for Linares.
Oh yeah, Victor Lachlan, amazing referee. Don't know about that scorecard though.
How can you score that for Luke? I don't understand what people are watching. Again, it's a typical situation where nobody's expecting anything, and then the guy kind of hangs in there after getting dropped, and then it's all of a sudden like, oh, we're going to score some rounds for him. You're just scoring it for an overachiever, man.
It was a bit shitty though that the card for him came from the British ref. It just, I don't know, it was a bit cringy. It's a bit obvious.
Victor Lachlan. Obey my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times.
That's not bad, actually.
Yeah, I know. I can fucking do a Victor Lachlan. I can do anything.
You can't do an Errol Spence. That's the one thing you can't do.
Do the Errol, bro.
I know. I just sound like a fucking redneck, don't I? Yeah.
Limit, what other fights did you want to talk about?
Speaking of which, where the fuck is Errol Spence?
Errol going to fight Collazo.
No, really?
Shit.
I'd like to thank Kell Brook. Give me the opportunity. God damn it.
Lim, any other fights you want to talk about?
No, the Valdez Genesis, I think Cervania. That was a great fight.
I've not seen that one yet, so you guys go ahead.
No. Nothing much to discuss. Valdez got dropped in the fourth round, continues to show vulnerabilities, and you want to talk about Inoue being basic. Holy fuck, is this guy basic as fuck. Valdez is so goddamn basic.
That's your guy, though. You used to love that dude.
I did, but I always criticized him a lot, though, Cam. You do have to recall that.
No, you did.
It comes into fruition, man. He's fighting guys that are just so much just lesser than him skill-wise, and he just continues to get caught with big shots, man. It's really disappointing.
You get dropped hard?
Yeah. No, not hard. I mean, he was kind of on wobbly feet, but he was able to still maintain pretty soundly, but he's just better than this guy, man. And he's just so goddamn wide. Like, he loves to throw punches, and he's one of the few fighters where he throws in combinations and you want him to not throw as many punches as he does, just because a lot of it isn't effective. Like, he doesn't really set up his punches very well. Everything is just full go. I mean, he's like the opposite of Canelo. You know, he's got great fucking stamina, so he can throw these ridiculous combinations, but he doesn't have the tact that Canelo does in setting up his shots. So,
tact. I love that.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that very much.
By the way, I completely agree with you. And also, for
Did
me,
you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it. I watched it today.
Nice.
It
was a great fight.
It was a fun fight because both guys got dropped, right? But it to me, he was kind of exposed for me personally here. Not in the sense that he's exposed as a fighter, but me just watching him today and studying him, I mean, I just realized that this guy is not going to go to the top.
Yeah.
You talk about slapping hooks, Lim. I mean, this guy's hooks are so fucking wide and slappy.
Yes.
It's really not good. He literally swings it from the hip, and he just winds it up. You know, you literally. It's almost like he charges up a punch and then he throws it. You know,
it's cringeworthy, dude.
Yeah, it's
really
terrible.
Is.
He throws it so wide, and then the guy, literally anybody that has a fast counterpunch can literally watch him load it up and fucking throw a right hand down the pipe and ice his ass.
Even his jab is really weird.
He doesn't
like the thing that I loved about Canelo's jab variation in his last punch was just that, his variation. Like he can throw a jab to the body, he can throw a jab to the face, like Golovkin can, like a lot of high level boxers, like Linares. You know, they all throw jabs in different angles, and they throw a jab when necessary. And Valdez just throws it because it seems like that was ingrained in his head. Like you just jab, 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 jab. It's like a video game. Like there's no tact behind it. There's no like adroitness behind it. It doesn't make much sense to me.
And it's very weak. He kind of pause a little bit sometimes, and he again when he throws the jab, it doesn't come. He doesn't bring the hand back to his face. It's just his hands are low. He leans forward a bit as well.
I was just going to say the same thing.
His face is just there. Like yes, I saw him slip a few shots sometimes in the fight, but in general, his chin is there. His face is there. Like you just gotta throw, and then you'll fucking hit something. You know.
Right. That's how he got dropped. He threw that combination, and he just walked back with his hands down.
With his hands down, exactly. Like fucking 101.
I don't understand that. Like you're a decorated amateur, and that you make those kind of mistakes. I don't fucking get it. Like you can get away with that kind of shit if you're like a technical, not a technical, but like a savvy boxer. Like, you know, if you have like the wherewithal to be able to slip punches while you're doing that shit, but he doesn't. He's very robotic.
He literally threw a combination, like you said, didn't pull his hands back in, just dropped, and then there was like a split second where the Filipino just looked at him and then just cracked him. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, it's just amateurish, man. It's very, very poor technique, and I can't get over the fact that he just chooses continuously to stand in front of people, load up these fucking wild ass hooks, and hit gloves and hit gloves and hit gloves. And it's like you say, he's blessed that he's got good stamina, because any other fighter would just gas out. You know, you just continually miss and wind up and wind up. It's frustrating to watch, to be honest. And again, he's not really stepped up against the elites yet, and he's already taken quite a bit of punishment, man. Every time he's in a 12-round war, this kid ain't gonna last, man. It's gonna go wrong at some point, and it's gonna go bad. So, again, I don't mind watching him because he makes for fun fights, but it's very, very frustrating when you have somebody with the supposed talent that he has, and he just keeps on doing the same thing over and over and over. Yes. And his face is just constantly there, and he will throw these repeated hooks and stand in the pocket. I mean, all it takes is one guy that just, you know, catch and shoots, and boom, you know, you can fucking ice his ass. And it will happen. It just depends on when. So, yeah, that's kind of my take on Mr. Valdez.
Yeah, as I said, I've not seen it, so hopefully I'll give my opinion. Give my opinion tomorrow.
Just break it down for us, though.
Just make some shit up.
Valdez was fucking terrible.
Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much it, man. And then obviously,
Kudryashov?
the biggest storyline of the weekend. I don't want to discuss that fight.
Doritos.
Pretty much just switch to the knockout, which was fucking brutal. But yeah, what about Andre Ward, guys? I mean, fucking retiring, top of the game. Just gotta give our props.
I give him props, but I don't
being
care.
in the Bay Area, we were in the Bay. I mean, it's perfect timing.
I have gone to appreciate him a little bit more now that I've understood the Bay Area way of life. So I do, I do get a little bit more down with the SOG. And he took Kovalev's soul, so I gotta give him a little credit for that. Even though he's still a cock puncher, but Yeah, if he retires, man, and chooses to stay out of the sport for real, not just come back within another year to make some more goddamn money, I do respect that, and
Oh, for sure. That'd be incredible, man.
I wish him well in that sense. Like I'm sure, for the lack of commercial appeal, he's made a shitload of money.
Oh yeah, he's done really well, man.
Yeah, and he's the type of guy that's a quote unquote good Christian and a family man who will not spend that shit on Ferraris and Lambos. So he'll probably do well for himself. He's got the HBO gig as well. Why not? Why not retire? Why not keep your health and just enjoy life? So, you know what? Now that I think about it like that, and I'm saying it out loud, he probably will stay retired because he won't really need to. Like, his lifestyle is not like Floyd, He won't be required to come back and fight an Adonis Stevenson for big money. So,
yeah.
Good riddance.
I mean, he's a staple of the Bay Area community, man. He's good friends with Steph Curry and KD, so he's set, bro.
Plus, I think he'll get, like, decent paydays, throughout just doing commentary and, analysis.
I've always wondered, though, Cam, how much do these motherfuckers make by doing the commentary gig?
I
really do wonder that. How much money? Why does Roy Jones keep fighting if he's getting paid decently? And Roy Jones, in terms of seniority, seems like somebody who could pay probably the most or at an upper echelon level for commentators. I'm really curious. I'm not saying one way or the other, but I'm really just curious to see how much these guys make for their commentary roles.
I don't think Roy necessarily fights because he's broke or whatever. I mean, obviously he does get paid well and he wants to make money fighting, but I think with Roy it's also just delusion. Again, Roy's another story. I'm surprised he still speaks so well in the broadcast. That to me is fascinating. He really is quite sharp.
Say the same things.
Yeah, but he is still very sharp, Len. You got to admit, for the amount of knockouts that he's endured, like he's pretty sharp the way he talks. Like if you listen to Bernard Hopkins these days, you can fucking feel the difference between 2 years ago. Like after that Kovalev fight, he doesn't talk the same way anymore. He is like, like struggling to get his word out. I don't know. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't think they get paid that much, to be honest. It's a commentary job. How much can you really get? It's like once every 2-3 months.
I wonder how Amir will sound in 10 years from now.
Well, he wasn't
sounding fucking shot already, man.
Yeah, he wasn't sounding that good yesterday, to be honest.
He's gonna feel
If only I knew somebody who kind of sounded like Amir. I wonder what that would have been like. Right, Kim?
You can ask Kem, man. He's had to endure it for like 2 fucking weeks.
I remember the first day when Cam got from the airport, it took like 7 minutes for him to get pissed off at us.
I think it was about 3 minutes.
I want the fight. You remember, Cam, we went to that pizza place and then we kept saying, I want the fight. I want the fight.
I just want the fight.
I did want to strangle Chemo at one point.
You guys told me Shannon Briggs was eating next to us. I honestly thought it was Shannon Briggs until I went
Let's
to
go,
the
champ.
I was like, that's not Shannon Briggs.
I must say though, we didn't let Cam ease into it. We hit him straight away with the fucking, with the full barrage of Amir Khan's and South Park quotes and
Golovkin impression,
Gennadievich Golovkins and everybody, and yeah, it was intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're all flawed individuals. I think we all can admit to that. Maybe not to the same degree, but we all have flaws, and naturally, it's just it's gonna explode at some point. No pun intended, but I think all things considered, we did pretty well.
That was a good one. It took me a second to get it, but
no, I'm serious. I'm not even trolling. Like being together with people that you honestly don't know all that well, or maybe even if you do, like it's a really difficult thing. Like there's one thing being friends, and it's a completely different dynamic in terms of being in close parameters with one another for an extended period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, dude, some of my best friends, like I love them to death, but honestly, I couldn't spend 3 days with them because I just get fucking annoyed. So I think we did well. I think we did really well. I think we passed the test.
We did indeed.
Well, I don't know about you, Cam. You probably will never ever travel with us ever again. But
I'll travel with him. Like you're horrible.
I'm horrible.
I'm always like, I wonder what he's. Yeah, because honestly, when Cam was here last time in LA, it was a completely different experience, like night and day. So
It wasn't as insane.
I do think you're the X factor.
Well, Cam, you talk a lot of shit, but when I'm gone, you miss me. It's quiet. There's no tomfoolery happening.
Tomfoolery. Is that true, Cam? Do you miss this guy?
No.
0.
No.
Not at all.
He said, wow, that hurts, bro.
I know, but like you said, Cam is like an 85-year-old guy. He just wants that silence, and he just wants to sit in his rocking chair and just relax a little bit, just unwind. He doesn't like all that background noise.
That first Airbnb did have a rocking chair as well, so that was quite ideal.
I know.
For me.
I never know what he's doing back there.
I never know what he's doing. What is he doing in the car? What is he doing? We just don't know, man.
All right, let's wrap it up just before we go.
Aren't we going to talk about Callum Smith, bro?
I've not seen it. I need to see it and then talk about it.
You the fuck.
But
Hold on.
The Bronx Bull sadly passed away. Jake LaMotta. I think it was it Wednesday, Tuesday, at the age of 95. Man, it's crazy the career he had. He had a good innings, man, because especially back then, you look at the dates and when they would fight, like they fight 2-3 weeks later after a tough 10-rounder. And personally, some people would maybe disagree with me that I didn't really think Jake LaMotta's skill level was that high. So he did take a lot of punishment throughout his career, fighting so often, and he fought so many 10-rounders, a handful of 15-rounders as well, and pretty amazing career. And yeah, it's sad when someone passes away, but when you're 95, man, I think you really can't complain when you've had a decent stay on this earth. So rest in peace to Jake LaMotta.
Given the amount of punishment that he's taken, making it to 95 is pretty good, I think, for a boxer, right?
Yeah.
I think the average age is a lot lower than that, Cam. So he did pretty well. Rest in peace.
Yeah, man.
I think 95 is fucking insane. That's like an outlier, like a 90. I don't even know what percentile, dude. That's fucking insane, especially with the short turnaround times in which he fought and the conditions in which he fought. Those people always kind of marvel me. They're like genetic outliers where like some people are just impervious to brain damage, it seems like.
It's crazy, man. Like, I think
it's really fucking crazy.
The third Sugar Ray fight happened 21 days after the second one. Like, now fighters fight twice a year and they complain. It's crazy.
Yeah, like your boy DSG.
My boy. Alright, guys, I'm done. You guys got anything else?
Can we just talk about Canelo a little bit more?
No.
Can we just do South Park?
No.
Did you see the last episode?
No, it wasn't that good.
No. I'm talking about the second one, not the first one of the new season.
Yeah,
the second one with the rap.
The most recent one. Yeah, with the rap.
Fucking genius, dude.
No, that song was really fucking good.
He's such a genius. Oh my god.
Oh, jeez. No.
It was really great.
No, but I'm just trying to think of the things to summarize from past 2 weeks. I don't know, Cam. Cam, final thoughts, best moment of the trip and the worst moment of the trip. I'm serious.
Worst moment of the trip is you two together at times were just unbearable.
No, that has to be one moment, though. Just one.
That's
moment.
worse than you getting fucking racially profiled.
I always get racially profiled, though, so that's nothing new to me.
Yeah.
That's horseshit. Okay, best moment.
Best moment, For me, I'd have to say the Golden Gate. It's a bit corny, but I really always wanted to go there. So
Really? That's your highlight?
yeah.
Kind of surprised by that.
I thought it was going to be going to Target.
Target does have all your needs in one place.
No, it does. It is very large. Is there anything comparable to it, Cam, in the UK?
There are a few shops similar to Target, yeah.
Nice.
Bro. Okay, so that was seriously the worst moment? Me and Lim together?
You guys are pretty bad. You guys are pretty bad together, man.
You're fucking dude. What else are you supposed to do when you sit in a car for 4 hours? Like you're just supposed to sit there in silence?
You can talk normally. You don't have to do constant South Park and Amir Khan and Golovkin impressions over and over. All fucking Lim was doing is searching YouTube and playing the same fucking videos over and over again.
Well, it was better than the music that you were playing.
There's a lot of things to talk about, you know.
Yeah, that is true. I did play that.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of things, man. We talked about the charity work, you know. We talked about a lot of things. It was good, man.
What about your best and worst moments, Kimo?
Oh God, there were so many highlights. I mean, honestly, I cherish the little things, Cam. You know, like buying a fridge magnet, like that just makes my day. Buying some sweet Steelers gear, you know, that I can rock. I mean, that's just fucking great.
Oakley's.
Yeah, Jesus, we must have said that like fucking 200 times on the trip.
Sweet. My favorite was This Has Come. For people who haven't seen South Park, just do yourself a favor. Go to YouTube and just type in This Has Come. And it will change your life forever.
In a bad way.
One of my worst moments was Ski Mask basically just flat out rejecting us, which was quite funny. It's like, hey, dude, you wanna hang out after the fight? Yeah, maybe. I'm trying to get drunk. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was really funny.
A fucking bum. But did I really have a worst moment? I don't think I really did. Well, Chocolatito probably getting iced was probably the worst moment.
What about you, Liv?
I really don't have best or worst moments. I'm a weird person like that. I just live life on a continuum, I guess.
You're just always in the flow.
But I do think probably one moment that does stand out is, this is sound really weird, but my highlight of the trip would be just looking at my rearview mirror and just looking at Cam and just thinking in my head, what is he thinking back there? What is he doing?
He's plotting to kill us and leave us in the desert.
That's what I was thinking too. But until that moment happens, I'll love him until the moment he kills me.
He'd probably just kill me and leave you alive.
Yeah, because you're good company, Lim. Like, without Kimo, you're good company, Lim. So I just killed Kimo.
And you have to drive, you know. Cam doesn't know how to drive in the US. It's the right-hand side of the road.
Come back stronger.
Yeah, he's got to come back stronger. Whereas I am fucking disposable, you know. I'm just a bunch of noise in the background that just needs to get rid of.
So Cam, if the rematch happens, would you come?
This is calm.
Unlikely, Lim. I said to my wife this would probably be the last trip for a while, so unlikely. I'm
a lock, bro.
Sweet.
I will definitely come, and I will bring my bandana once again. And
we could do that thing from South Park where we just attach Cam's face on an iPad.
It'd probably be quite similar, to be honest.
Vicariously. And then we could just have Ski Mask as a body, just attach a pole on top of it.
That'd probably be quite similar because Cam is very quiet and reserved. So we just have a cardboard cutout of Cam. You know, we just put the English bandana around him, and we're good to go. So, but yeah, I'll definitely Cinco de Mayo, baby. I want to be there. Let's fucking do it. And I think Canelo's going to knock him out this time.
Nah.
It's too slick,
He's not
bro.
gonna knock him out.
Yeah.
Nope. I think that's it, Cam.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
All right, guys. Thank you for jumping on for this wrap up for the last 2 weeks. Thank you to all the people in the chat and all the people that download the show week in, week out. We'll be back tomorrow with a show that's covering this past weekend of fights. Peace.
You just listened to the Boxing Coalition.
Oh, dude, man, I love boxing. I fucking love boxing.
A big shout out to the Boxing Coalition.
You're a newbie.
No, I ain't new, man.
If my fucking next door neighbour became the number one flyweight in the world, you know what I'd do? I'd fucking walk past the cunt.
Derek, how you doing, bro?
I was physically burn you, blood.
I disagree.
First time I hear the song, man, it was fucking badass.
Vamos a Argentina, la concha de su madre.
I see the bomb in them.
I get home and she's like, what the fuck? Me and the kid are here. Why don't you get home and talk to us? I'm like, man, you guys don't know shit about boxing.
Kel, how does it feel to be the new IBF champion?
Feels great. Great.
Did we really dive into the black hole right off the jump?
I think he's hiding glass. Just to play devil's advocate.
You want 1 portion of crow or 2 portions of crow?
Give me 2 portions with a supersized fries and a large drink, please.
I can't stand him, what? I'm Scottish.
Cringe side.
But you won't crush Anthony fucking fat ass Joshua, would you?
He's not fat.
How about you tell us what you weigh for your final thoughts?
My weight?
Thank you for listening to the Boxing Coalition. We are live every Monday, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. UK time, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern.